Welcome everybody to another edition of the C3 Friday Free for All, the show that's for Panther fans by Panther fans. If you would like to be a part of the show, join via Streamyard. I have the link pinned via the top of the YouTube chat and the top of the Facebook chat. We appreciate each and every single one of you for spending your Friday evening with the C3 Panthers podcast, man. You know we're going to do it with the best members of the C3 Legion. They're still rolling in, but we're going to start the show with my man, the brand ambassador himself, D's Ill Skills. D's, what's up, brother? How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Cody. You know, y'all had a great show Tuesday night. I really enjoyed it. It was a good one. It was another good show by C3. And here we are back again on Friday after all that draft talk last week. 13 hours of coverage brought to you by the C3 Panthers podcast and one hell of a dedicated member of it in Cody Lashney. So here we are fired up Friday night, ready to get on the roll, as we say. And, you know, tonight running my Panthers Hall of Honor background because we just had the NFL draft. You don't know if we didn't just draft a Hall of Famer, Cody. You can't say that for sure. You can't say that we didn't just draft someone that may go into the Ring of Honor because you just don't know. That's why it's so hard to grade the drafts right after it, because it takes 2 or 3 years, they say, before you really understand what kind of draft we've had. But one thing I do understand, Cody Lashney, besides the fact we're about to get this podcast rolling here on Friday night, we invite others to join, is the fact that Dan Morgan has done his job. He's done his job, Cody. Dan Morgan, the GM of the Carolina Panthers, coming here, lined them up, made his picks. He did what he needed to do. He provided the talent for these coaches. Dave Canales has got his work set out for him on offense, as well as Ajero Evero on the defensive side of the football. Talent has been added throughout free agency. We didn't get Milton Williams as we wanted to, but we supplemented the best we could with a barrage of free agent signings. Dan Morgan has done his job to its fullest extent, to the point of having Panthers fans saying this may have been the greatest draft in Carolina Panthers history. And only time will tell that story, Cody. But I know that Panthers fans are excited because the next Hall of Honor member may already be on the roster. Let's roll.
Let's go. Dude, you know it's going to be a hell of a Friday when I'm starting off the show with the two most optimistic members of the C3 Legion that we have at our disposal. Next up, my man, D Money, back on the free for all, my brother. What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, my C3 family? Homie Cody Lack, my brother from another mother, Diesel Skills. You know, I heard you was going to be a little short-handed, and you know I'm at my 9 to 5 or whatever. I couldn't leave little homie on stuck without bringing a little D Money to the family, baby.
Right.
What's going on, bro?
What's up, my man? D Money, bro. We appreciate you, man. Next up, we have my man Locks, man, back on the Friday free for all. Locks, man, what's up with you, brother? How you doing, man?
What's good, Cold Dog? What's good?
What's up, brother?
C3 people. Yeah, I'm on this bitch a little early today. I'm ready to get on with the show. That's about it. Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. Gentlemen, we're going to use Tuesday's presentation to sort of run through all the breaking news before we jump into the draft in a big way and evaluate how we're feeling about what Dan Morgan did. But I want to open up the conversation to one Clemson legend, Hunter Renfrow, back on the Carolina Panthers. Or he was never on the Panthers, but he's back in the Carolinas. Gentlemen, what do you make of Hunter Renfrow being a Carolina Panther? Is this an Adam Thielen replacement, or even a reason to trade Adam Thielen? Or is Hunter Renfrow the first one being cut come training camp? Boys, it's a free-for-all. How are y'all feeling about Hunter Renfrow being a Carolina Panther?
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm happy for you. You get you a Clemson Tiger on the
Yeah.
squad. That fills a void that you've had in your heart for years. So I support that. But Hunter Renfrow does not move me. No disrespect to Hunter Renfrow. It's a great story if he's successful, whatever. But me hearing signing Hunter Renfrow does not change my mind of the Minnesotan Luke Skywalker still being on this roster. And I don't think that Hunter Renfrow, at least this year, because he's trying to get his conditioning, get his football shape back, is going to be highly impactful. But there could come a point where later on in the year, guys banged up and he's kind of got his body under him. He might could make a play or two. So I support that. I have no issue with it. It's not like we broke the bank to go get Hunter Renfrow. I think I'm more excited about the young guys that we have in that wide receivers room that I guess maybe if we didn't have some of that talent that we'd have in there, I would focus on Hunter Renfrow a little bit more. But to me, I'm happy for you. I'm just not moved either way about it. But congratulations to him for getting the opportunity to play the sport that he loves, or at least get the opportunity to play the sport that he loves.
Yeah, man. And the fact that he had ulcerative colitis pretty much hampered his ability, even his final 2 years with the Raiders. This dude has overcome a lot physically to get back to this point. You know, whether you're a fan of him or not, I think you have to appreciate the perseverance by Hunter Renfrow. And remember that one Derwin James said that Hunter Renfrow is one of the best receivers that he has ever seen play. So that's just the opinion of Derwin James. Let me go to my man Diesel Scales. D's, be real with me, man. What spot does Hunter Renfrow have on this roster, if any at all?
I don't know, Cody. I mean, I really don't, because we haven't seen him at his best in 4 years. You know, he had a hard go after making the Pro Bowl. Like you said, you were covering some of his medical history, some of the things he's gone through. But I also read punctured lung and something else, I believe concussion. A lot of things holding him back. You know, is he in good enough shape? I looked at the photos from the signing, maybe a little bit of video that the Panthers have put out, not much. I can't tell what kind of shape the guy's in. He doesn't look like he's in amazing shape to me, which has got me kind of worried, because that, like Jimmy Horn Jr., running behind, nipping at your heels type of thing, trying to make the roster too. And, Hunter was never that kind of fast guy. He's just kind of twitchy and got good footwork, good moves to get open, to create separation. Does he make this roster or not? Bro, we'll just have to wait and see. Everybody's got to get out here and earn it. It's funny, though, because as soon as I got the news, I was looking at, me and Cole were talking about it, and Cole says, I always thought he was going to come here. And I was like, bro, me too. I was like, I thought he was going to come here too. And sure enough, we signed him. And like I was telling you earlier, one of the things I had tweeted out was, if we had signed him before the draft, Panthers fans would have been nuts about it. You know what I mean? But we drafted the best wide receiver in the draft at number 8 overall, and then picked up Jimmy Horn and a couple of UDFAs at wide receiver as well. And it's kind of like, and we got Hunter Renfrow. And it kind of muted the response he would have got. Yeah. But let me tell you something right here, and this is the coolest thing I can think of about Hunter Renfrow. If the Carolina Reaper revived Adam Thielen's career, and then he turns around and revives Hunter Renfrow's career, oh my God, it will be legendary for Panthers fans. We'll have Randy Moss will come out of retirement just to come play with BY.
I love it. That is a great point, though, man. If Bryce Young can take the career of two seemingly dead career receivers and then turn them around, that would be one pretty feather in the hat of Bryce Young. Locks, man, what do you feel about Hunter Renfrow, man? Does this mean anything to you, or is he trying to make the roster just like a Jimmy Horn might?
Yeah, I think he's more of a depth competition type signing. What percentage do I give him to possibly make the roster? I got the top. I think the top 4 is already set, in my opinion. So it's probably gonna be between him, Jimmy Horn, and David Moore. because usually those last 5, maybe 6 spots go to guys who can play special teams. Yeah. So if he can still play special teams, which I think he did at one point in his career, like a punt return or something like that, I think he has a 50% chance. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, the signing, I didn't mind the signing. I mean, it's depth. You know what I mean? At this point in the off season, you know, it's more depth than anything. You know what I mean? So as far as the signing, I didn't mind it. You know, but as far as making the team, I give him like a, you know, I mean, 45% chance. You know what I mean? He has a decent chance.
Okay. So who are the top 4? So Ted McMillan, T-Mac, Xavier Leggett, right? Jalen Coker. And then that number 4, probably Adam Thielen. And then you're just sort of rotating dudes at that point. So listen, I'm a Clemson fan, but I'm also not denying that Hunter does have a lot of proving to do, that he's still that Pro Bowl wide receiver that he once was, you know? And with the additions that we made in the draft, yeah, man, this is a loaded Panther wide receiver room on the likes of which I haven't seen in a very long time. I don't remember the last time the wide receiver room was filled with this many dudes that can go out and make something work, man. So I'm pumped about this. You know, I don't know if he'll make a huge impact, but if he was able to, bro, you know I would love to have my Clemson Tiger running wild with us. But yeah, man, we'll come back to it as other people come through. I wanted to ask y'all about this. The Panthers picked up Kevin Quander's 5th-year option. Were you surprised by this? Do you support this move? And what type of year do you think Kevin Quander is set to have in 2025?
Well, first off, I think that it was a no-brainer. It was an absolute no-brainer. Our offensive line last year, produced way more than expected. They gave an overproduction of what could have ever been expected. He was a part of that unit. And I understand as he's been a Carolina Panther, he's had growing pains. He's had good times. He's had low times. But if he's been there with the unit, we already have that continuity and so forth with those guys. It was a no-brainer. A great tackle, it's a dime a dozen if you don't get that guy out the draft in the first place. I'm not saying that he's great, but there is still a ceiling that he could be great. But he's good with the pieces that we have beside him. And the whole thing is trying to keep Bryce upright. And right now, he was not a weak link of that offensive line last year. So he's earned that 5th year, in my opinion. And I expect him. I don't want to overinflate anybody, but I think this possibly could be the best year that he's had with the Panthers because, one, he's now comfortable with the O-line situation, the continuity that I just mentioned, and, you know, just another year under his belt. So I think this could really be what you could say breakout year, not trying to overinflate it, but out of what he's done so far, I expect this to be his biggest year so far.
Yeah. And you know that this team wants to be a dominant run-first football team, and that's what Kevin Quander does. You run the ball behind that dude. So from that perspective, I love it. I think he fits what they want to do. Do you feel like Quander can actually take that next step, however, to be one of the best, not only the best run blocking left tackles, but also one of the best pass protecting left tackles? Do you think that Quander still has that within him to be one of those truly dominant left tackles in the NFL?
Look no further than Chandler Zavala to answer your question, Cody. Look at his performance last year compared to the season prior. Zavala was one of the worst rookies in the NFL his rookie season. He gave up 14 sacks or more, I believe it was. And then last year came in, played serviceable. And I credit that to the offensive line coaches because there's multiple. we separate. We got one coach who does the inside guys, the guards and the center, and then we have a different coach just for tackles. So under this premise and under the step up, the huge step up that we saw from Chandler Zavala, I do think Ikem Ekwonu can take that next step. I do think it was smart for them to sign his fifth-year option, because if we hadn't, then maybe at number 8 overall, we should have done like the Saints and took Kelvin Bakes Jr. or some other tackle that was available to help the Panthers. Because I was listening to something this week, and a guy said, he said, it sure does feel different when you've got that left tackle as opposed to not having the guy. And I thought back to when we didn't have that guy, and man, there was some bad times in Carolina on that offensive line back in the Matt Rule days. All those different combinations he run out. We had 13 or 14 different offensive line combinations and couldn't do nothing with any of them. And that's why, we took Ekwonu high. He's had some ups and downs, but he's always been a solid run blocker, like you're saying. And with more explosiveness added to this offense, if we're up in the game, we know Dave will run the ball. But if we're behind, we're passing. That's just how Dave is. And that's what it is here in Carolina. We're going to outscore the other team. But if we get up and we really pound that rock, we're going to see just how important Ikem Ekwonu is to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, man.
And I also echo what Dan Morgan and Dave Canales has said. This is from Dan Morgan. It says, I think Icky has shown us he's a dominant run blocker. I think he's shown us that he's very reliable in the past.
Hey, Cody. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I got to do something right quick. So if you call me and I don't say nothing, that's because I'm doing something. Hold on right quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem, bro. He says, I think he'd be the first to tell you that he wants to clean some things up in hand placement and some footwork stuff. All those are goals of his. But I think we got our left tackle. I love playing with and having Icky over there, having Taylor Moton on the right side. I feel pretty good about just playing ball against pretty much anyone. And we do have our bookends right now. Dude, you're right, that left tackle, whenever you don't have one, it's miserable, man. We've been through that so many years. And even though Icky has been disappointing at times in pass protection, I give the man every benefit of the doubt. I do think he has progressed in meaningful ways. And I like what Avery Williams here in the chat says. People always play harder on a contract year. So this is his year where he has to show the fan base that he's willing to be that dude for the Carolina Panthers.
I can't remember any Icky injuries. Now that Paul brings it up in the chat, do you recall any injuries to Icky? Well, I can't think of one.
So it says right here. Yeah. So he missed 2 last year with an ankle injury.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the most part, he's been very, very healthy.
Yeah.
And that's another point to make, man. When you're not on the field, then you're definitely not affecting any change. So he has been healthy, and he does continue to grow. And I'm hoping that this is a big time year for Ike Ekwonu. Now let's bring this up, right? Because this has been a very important point of contention that some people seem to agree on, disagree on. How do you feel about the potential of trading Jadeevon Clowney for an extra $7.8 million? There were rumors that we were going to try and trade him during the draft. Do you feel that the Panthers love their new draft picks so much that they would be willing to part with Clowney at this point?
Possibly that they might feel that way, but I really think that they would be doing the team a big injustice unless there was just something like proposed to them that was just you couldn't turn down, which I just don't, no knock to him. I don't feel like you're going to get that offer that you just can't refuse. My main thing is this, the one thing that we've been looking for within our defense is depth. And we got young edge rushers. They need a mentor. Who's going to mentor them? Is it going to be Wonnum? Maybe so. But the wealth of information that Jadeevon Clowney has, and the different techniques and the different nuances, the different looks that he has, that's going to benefit Princely. That's going to benefit Big Nick. And you want, yes, you want them guys to get out there and get their reps. But I've always imagined once we took those picks and we had Clowney on the roster, that it was going to be a lot of rotational. They're swapping them in and out. I mean, now, like if you get a deal or you just don't believe in Clowney, fine. But I'm gonna say this: I don't want to get rid of Jadeevon Clowney for $7 million just to free up. If your justification is for $7.5 million to be freed up, then I'm not down with it. But unless you get an offer or that man asked to leave Charlotte, he can do nothing but benefit. Let's look at what Adam Thielen, the effect that he left on Jalen Coker and them guys. Even when he wasn't on the field and had an injury, he was mentoring them guys, he was coaching them guys, and you started to see little nuances in some of them guys that were very Thielen-like. And I don't think that we would be doing ourselves a service for letting a guy go that could give some really good techniques to two young, athletic, hungry dogs that the only thing that they're missing right now is the experience and the reps. So you want to give them somebody that's been through it at a high level. And I just feel that we should use that information. If what we're paying him this year, we're paying him for information. If you don't want him on the field, fine. Put the young boys out there. But let him coach them up. And most importantly, just for depth, because at some point, this is a long season, and that is a position that you're paid to run into people. Everybody's not going to play every game. Like these guys are going to get dinged up. It's just the nature of the beast. Why not have somebody that you know that is comfortable? He's familiar. Forget the story that he's from not too far from there. Just at the fact of what he brings to the table, I think we'd be doing a great disservice to this team and this fan base if we let Jadeevon Clowney go just to free up $7.5 million.
That's such a good point too about Adam Thielen and what type of impact he had on young Jalen Coker this past year. Why would you not let Clowney impart some wisdom and knowledge onto the young guys like Scarton and McMillan? To me, it's a no-brainer. I think you're better off. If you want your defense to stop the run and rush the passer, you're definitely not better without Jadeevon Clowney than you are with them. I brought up the depth chart right now. I left outside linebacker. We have Clowney. Next, Scorton behind him. DJ Johnson behind him. Amari Barno behind him. Basham behind him. Dude, the roster cuts are going to be vicious for this linebacker room, though.
Now, did you hear what you just said, Cody? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did you hear what you just said? Behind Scorton is who? DJ Johnson. So if you get rid of the Jadeevon Clowney, right? You just cool with DJ Johnson being the dude to lead Scorton in this situation?
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell no.
You know what I mean? Like, it just don't make sense. It would be just like, I don't know, man. Like I said, Clowney would have to say he had to lead the building for me to consider that, man, because DJ Johnson, bro, 18 game season, and we're going to go with the rookie and DJ Johnson. But, hey, I'm going to come back later. I got to clock back in, man. Love every single one of y'all.
Love you,
brother. Ain't with us now. You ain't welcome to the parade. Keep pounding.
With that, let me welcome in
my man.
I'm back. Yeah, man. Let me welcome in my man Cole back on the free for all. Colby, my brother, how you doing, man?
Cody Light, happy Friday, boys. Hope everybody had a good day, man. Coming off the draft, still on the high, feeling good about it. What are we getting into tonight, Cody?
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask you all of the questions that we already asked before, but the one that we're on right now is, what do you feel about potentially trading Jadeevon Clowney? Is this a foolish move, or are you looking to free up $7.8 million to potentially, sign Taylor Moton or sign Jermaine Pratt, North Carolina State linebacker, who's rumored to be on the move? Cole, what would you do, man?
If today is true, Cody, what I read, and I know there's been a little bit of rumblings, I am going to get rid of Clowney and get that $7 million because there's another name that you can potentially throw out there that we could be chasing, and that's Jair Alexander. Like, I don't think Green Bay's still doing too much better with their situation. I didn't read the whole article. I just read a couple lines after the headline, but he could be a player If there's any other inside linebackers, I wouldn't mind spending some money on it. So, I mean, having that $7 million will be good. I think you drafted enough talent where you wouldn't miss them, especially if the emergence of DJ Windham is going to happen
Okay.
like I think it's going to.
So you would be okay moving on from Clowney for the right price.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Hey, that's a great point, and there are options out there. Like I said, Jermaine Pratt. If you want more linebacker depth, I know you would, and I think I would too if I'm being honest.
He's not a bad linebacker.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
He's been a team captain before. He's a good player.
Also, there's been a lot of talk about potentially extending Taylor Moton. I think that could be a good use of that money.
Right, that's where it needs to go.
Locks, man, jump in on this, bro. Do you feel like the Panthers should trade Jadeevon Clowney or keep him as depth and as a mentor for Nick Scorton and Princely McMillan?
I would keep him. There's no point of trading him because you never know as far as when training camp hits, injuries happen, all type of stuff happens. So I would keep him for depth and let the young guys learn and come along slowly as the year goes on. But if they can trade him and get something really good back, I would consider that too. But for right now, I would keep him. But again, if they can trade him and get something that, if put it like this, if it can be a win, if we can trade and everybody can be like, I like this trade, it's a great trade, I do it. But for now, I'd rather keep him for depth.
Okay.
I ain't mad at that.
Yeah, I think I do see both sides of the argument. There's a lot of good points to be made. These are the skills. Shed some light on this, brother. What would you do with Clowney at this point in time? Leave him to be a mentor or see if we can make that money work in some other places?
I just think back to last year when the Panthers brought him on, Cody, and they put out all these videos of how Clowney's back home and he's got his family nearby and how happy he was and how happy we were to celebrate his NFL career and bring him back home and let him be a part of the Panthers. I think about all the press interviews like he went through. He did a really good job in all of those. So it would be kind of dirty just to unload him to save a little cap, in my opinion, because it felt like they brought him in because he was a culture guy. He was a guy that was going to help build the new culture of Dave Canales and Dan Morgan within that locker room. So, yes, I think you keep him just so he can play his true role as well. Steven said it in the chat. He said, Clowney getting less reps is a good thing. He was never meant to get as many reps or downs in a game as he did last year. He's supposed to be subbed in and out, and we just didn't have the depth or the talent to do it. So he had to play a lot more, and it probably hurt his season overall. And I think we'll see more production out of him with him coming in that more limited role with these young guys that we've added to get after the passer. Because, Clowney wasn't really a guy that we touted to get a ton of sacks for us anyway. He was more of a guy to help us stop the run. So I think he's going to be playing in more of a natural role. I think he will be a good mentor, especially with as young as that room is outside of him. And I don't see us unloading him because we just picked up a couple players. Like, we've been hurting at the position, and now we're finally not hurting at the position. So it would be kind of crazy to start moving people now after we just worked to build what we have.
And I also think you have to consider the optics of it. We didn't spend our first round pick on a defensive player when we gave up the most points in NFL history. Now, why are you giving up any assets on defense at this point? I mean, unless you're adding a player like Jair Alexander, like Cole mentioned, unless you're doing it for a player like that, then it's really not worth it. And if I'm being plainly honest with you, I believe that they like their defensive backfield as it is. I think they like Michael Jackson. I think they like J.C. Horn. I think they like the potential of a Charles Smith-Wade at that nickel position. I understand that you can make that money do some things, but I really feel like right now we need to have that veteran presence around the two young defenders that we just drafted. That's my opinion, boys. I don't know how y'all are thinking. Cole, what you say to that, man?
That's not a bad opinion to have. I mean, either way, I'm going to be okay with that. But I'm just saying, if you needed the extra money and absolutely had to have it and it was worth it, I would move him. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a good stance that you had, though, Cody.
Yeah, man. Also, shout out to
Yeah.
Chris Hopkins. Also, Jadeevon Clowney is at home. He's back in the Carolinas. He's playing ball where he wants to be. Now maybe if a Super Bowl contender was knocking at the door, maybe he would like that. But overall, I think he does want to end his career here with the Carolina Panthers. And I love that, man. Like I said, we need that presence right now on the defense more than we need another piece from another team, in my own humble opinion.
And we need guys that want to be here. I mean, that's a big deal. If he wants to be in Carolina, he wants to finish his career in Carolina because he loves the Carolina Panthers. Well, that's the kind of attitude we need to spread throughout the locker room, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because we saw quite a few games where we weren't given top effort on the field. We didn't have that pride. We didn't worry about making anyone fear the logo in a lot of games last year. So, yeah, if that's his stance, then that's who we need in that locker room for sure.
That is the stance. And listen, Dan Morgan and the boys took a stance on that very thing with this draft class. If I do say so myself, these, as you alluded to, many people are starting to say this is one of their favorite draft classes ever. Obviously, as you said before, we have to see these dudes in action before we really know what type of draft class this is. But man, on face value, 4 defensive picks, 4 offensive picks, the Carolina Panthers did a ton of work to fill out the roster with this draft. Boys, we're going to jump into each and every single one of the draft picks, but what is your brief overview about this draft and how are you feeling about it as of right now? We'll start with my man Diesel Skills.
Why did we get a B- overall up at the top? Who gave us that? PFF gave us an A+ for our draft.
Yeah, I don't know. This is on Panthers.com. This is an amalgamation of a bunch of different websites and their draft. I have no idea who's dumb enough to give us a C. That's pretty stupid. But how did you feel about this? What is the proper way for Panther fans to be feeling about this draft?
I think Steve Smith graded day one. That's what I think happened. But, I mean, this was a fantastic draft for the Carolina Panthers. Because that Nick Scorton, that's why we got such a high score from PFF. We picked him up at 51. They had him ranked at 24, I believe it was. 24 overall on the big board, Nick Scorton. And then we got him at 51. That's how we ended up getting an A+ from them. And I've noticed some patterns, too, if you think about it. You remember back we were needing safety before. We took Jamie Robinson. We took him in the 5th round. This time we go 4th round with Lathan Ransom. I think a lot of people wanted to see that at the number 114 when Watts was still on the board. I believe, I'd have to double check, but I think Watts was on the board there when we took ETN. So that's going to bother some people that waiting a little later for a guy that could potentially start or contribute. And, Jamie Robinson ended up getting cut too. And it's also interesting to me that we did Crumedy in the 5th round last year. Cam Jackson, another defensive tackle in the 5th round this year. So Dan Morgan's got some kind of thing about grabbing D tackles late on day 3 and kind of throwing them in the mix and see how they develop. So that's going to be interesting, both those players going into this year, seeing what they do. Mitchell Evans in round 5. I believe Tommy Tremble was round 5, was he not? JT Sanders was at the beginning of round 4. So it's just we're starting to see some patterns in some way by Dan Morgan throughout his 2 drafts. Not that we knew exactly what he was going to do, but what he did do was please the fans and fill out this roster in a way that made sense. It's every single year. Me and Cole talked about this too. It's every single year the Carolina Panthers would draft a guy and everybody would go, who? And then they would just get cut the next season. And that's not what this is. Even if all you watched was a Friday free-for-all and you watched our mock drafts, then you would know just from that this was a good draft. These were all names that we were throwing around. These were all names of people that were on the board and we talked about that made sense for Carolina to go after. So I'm really happy with the draft. The B minus hurts my feelings. I don't understand that at all. I think most fans are ecstatic with this and what this Carolina Panthers offense can do moving forward, and all fans are hoping for improvement from the defense. Good.
Yeah, man. And listen, simply put, I've watched the film of each and every single one of these dudes, and I love their film. And I'm not just being a biased Panther fan. It's easy to see what jumps out on film to Dan Morgan and the rest of our scouts just looking at the film. These dudes have talent that really do pop. Cole, what is your brief overview and assessment of this draft before we jump into each one of the individual picks? Cole, what's up, bro? Do I still have you, man? Oh, Cole might be away. Lux, man, what is your overview of this draft, man? How you feeling so far about it?
I give it a B. You know, I like all the picks, but like most fans, I had some other guys that I wanted that I had ranked a little bit higher. You know, I had guys like, you know, Will Johnson. I had guys like, you know, Xavier Watts. I had some other guys, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think these guys are bad picks, you know. I thought they would, you know, pick that dude Princely, you know, like as far as Tech, you know, I had Tech high on my list early on, but like most fans again, I thought as the draft process went on, all I heard was Jalen Walker, and you listen to everybody, and everybody was saying Jalen Walker, so I kind of distanced myself from Ted, and I went with Jalen Walker. But whenever they picked Ted, I gave that an A+. You know, the Scrouton dude, I didn't really look at him much. I didn't really hear much about him, but I looked at a little bit of highlights. You know, I like his size, big physical dude. I think he can play outside and inside. So I mean, you know, we shall see. And the dude, the safety dude, you know,
Nathan Ransom.
Yeah, I think he's pretty decent. I don't know how good he is in coverage, but he seems to be a good run, a big run stopping safety. And Cam Johnson, I like his size. As far as the tight end, I mean, you know, I think he can block. And Jimmy Horn, everybody seems to like him. He got some speed, some special teams ability. So you know, I give it a B. I give it a B.
Cody, can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear, Cole.
All right, I was talking to you the whole time. I don't know what was wrong with my shit.
Yeah, you were muted. My bad. Yeah, you're good.
All right, here we go. So I was pretty much level-headed, neutral. My heart didn't race into the entire draft, and I'm just not used to that because I feel like we nailed this shit, my brother.
Yeah,
I think it was a damn A-. If you want to be critical, I would still give it an A- because we got everything we needed. We finally did the right thing for me to validate us going up and trading for Bryce Young. You got him 2 serious weapons in back-to-back drafts, so that makes me feel a lot better about the trade with that. So I just feel like we're doing the right thing. We're trading in the right direction. And you didn't even get a defensive player in the first round, and you still got 2 first-team edge rushers. Like, that's a good deal.
That's beautiful, man. That's really Dan Morgan understanding how to navigate the draft, which I think he deserves a ton of commending for. But let me welcome some more people into the show, man. Now the free-for-all is starting to light up. Let me welcome in my man, Alex Bryant from Kitty Lit Zio. It's awesome to have you on the free-for-all. Finally, man, we've been needing to do this. How are you, man, on this Friday afternoon?
Dude, I'm so good. I've been amped up all week, man. Like the more I look into this stuff, it's the process, man. We're doing what good teams do, and that's no matter what you think about the picks. We're drafting. I did a whole show about this, man. Of the all the wide receivers that went in the first 3 rounds, we were the only non-playoff team from last year to draft in the first 3 rounds. There were nine other playoff teams drafted wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, and then 4 of the teams were new coaches, and those were Ben Johnson, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel, like so good organizations and good coaches and good front offices are doing exactly what we did. And our trade
Yeah.
ups were in the perfect spot, jumping right before the teams that were going to take the positions that we were taking. Process was
Yeah.
amazing, man. And also, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Good shit.
Absolutely. It's a free for all. That's what we do over here, man. Have great Panther discussions from people with every different type of Panther opinion, man. This is where we come to hash it out. Let me welcome in my brother back on the free for all, Jake the Snake FU2. What's up, brother?
What's up, y'all? Better late than never, as they say.
That is what they say, man.
There ain't nothing better than grilling and the propane runs out. And then you got to panic. You're like, oh, God, I got to get some propane.
Oh, no.
Hey, I'm here.
Stay on deck, Jacob.
Yeah, I
Call
know.
Hank Hill. Call Hank Hill.
But I'm ready to talk Panther football. Enjoy tonight, as always. Love you, boys.
Yes, sir, man. Jake, give me your brief overview of the draft before we jump into each of these players individually.
Oh, I love it. I'm on cloud nine when it comes to this draft. Like y'all saying with the I'm A+ right now. This might be the best draft on paper. Like I told you, Cody. Like every one of these guys, I know them. Like I know their names. It's not like we're drafting people from colleges we never heard of. And don't get me wrong, that don't mean nothing. But I'm just saying, like we actually know these people, man. I love what Dan Morgan's doing. I love what Dave Canales is doing, and I'm loving it, man. I'm ready for the season.
Love it, bro. I absolutely love it. Next up, let me welcome in Surfside Steve to the Friday Free For All. Steve, how are you, brother?
Okay, doing fine, man. Excited about the draft. I think 2 and 3 were like kind of combination to be the best day of the draft for us, and that justified number 1 for the for a receiver. So I'm thrilled. I can't wait for the season now, man. I tell you.
Yeah, dude, I love it. One of the things I say around the draft is hope springs eternal. You know, it's a brand new season. You're putting brand new players on the team, and you're really giving your fans an opportunity to picture this team being much different than it has been in the past. But boys, let's jump into these picks, man. The Carolina Panthers at number 8 overall draft Tetairoa McMillan, aka T-Mac, aka Nalo, but not Tet McMillan, because his mama says that is not what she named him. So people will call him T-Mac around these parts, or maybe Nalo, whatever you prefer. But whatever you do, don't call him a bum, because they drafted him to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers at Arizona. He had back-to-back seasons of 1,300 plus receiving yards. Boys, how do you feel about Tet McMillan? What are your expectations this year for Tet McMillan? And what do you think is a reasonable number of touchdowns to receiving yards for his first year in the NFL? Jump on it, boys, whoever wants it.
I'll go over fast. For me, I'm not a scout. I'm a fan like everybody else, but just if you follow like what short quarterbacks need, you need big catch radius guys. Because if you're short, you're throwing over a big offensive line, you're going to miss high a lot. So if you've got a big, tall guy with a big catch radius that's a hands catcher, I just think that he's going to be a great security blanket for Bryce and someone he feels comfortable for one-on-one balls and a red zone target. So I think he fills so many different needs because you think about Excel, it's a body catcher. So you're just giving him that, like, because you think about like Drew Brees when he had Michael Thomas, he took off. When he had Jimmy Graham, he took off. When Russell Wilson had Jimmy Graham, and then he had DK. When Kyler Murray got DeAndre Hopkins, those big, long catch radius guys. I think that's what short quarterbacks need, and I just think they nailed this as far as in theory what we should get for Bryce Young.
Yeah. And, listen, before this pick happened, I was more in the camp of wanting us to draft defense. But one of the things I think I underestimated is how much Dave Canales values that big body, big frame wide receiver that can get open based off of his jump ball skills alone. Someone that you can put it in their vicinity and they're like to come down with it. My man had a 300-yard performance to open the season. Over 200 yards against West Virginia, over 138 yards against Kansas State. So all the best teams that he played on the schedule, he put up his best numbers. So my question for anyone in here is, do you feel like Tet McMillan was a reach at the 8th overall pick? Or is everyone okay with Tet now being drafted at number 8 overall? Is there anyone here that believes that we jumped and did a little bit too much too early?
No, I don't think we jumped. You know, like I said, man, I always look at my own draft board. I look at what the experts has to say, but I always do it based off my own opinion. And through the draft process, I looked at them. You know, everybody had Travis Hunter as the number 1 wide receiver, play both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? He was probably the number 1 receiver. But I think as far as the number 1, like pure receiver that plays number 1 receiver, I gave it to Tet. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they jumped too high, you know, and I don't necessarily think, in my opinion, that they drafted him based off of size. I thought they drafted him based off he was the best receiver in the draft, and you know they needed some more weapons because Adam Thielen, he is 35. He's probably gonna retire next year. I think Jalen Coker, he has like 1 year on this contract, so next year I think he'll be like a restricted free agent. So you look at the depth. So I think this was more of a future pick, and I think he's the best wide receiver in the draft, and I think he will show that. So as far as do I think they picked him too high? No, I don't.
Okay. No, that's fair, man. And listen, a lot of people had to come around on Tet McMillan. I was one of them. And, you know, I still do think, and I'm hoping that this doesn't happen, that maybe there might be some unreasonable expectations placed on Tet this year. However, even if he doesn't have a great rookie season, I'm not going to be out on him. To me, a player like Tet, you have to build around and really cultivate that talent, and he can be incredible in the future. That being said, I don't know what type of wide receiver we have week 1 of the NFL season. We're going to have some questions as we continue to move forward. Diesel Skills, what say you, bro?
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Some people will come out of the woodwork that didn't really like the pick, you know, after the first couple games. They'll be like, look, he's only got 100 yards and he's only got 8 receptions, and I told you we shouldn't have picked him that high. But yeah, Stephen Bailey said it in the chat, like he was going to the Cowboys. I think that's what most of us in the Legion kind of believed, that the Cowboys would take him if we didn't. And he also pointed out the Saints, and that's a good point too. Yeah, he very well could have went to the Saints if we didn't pick him. I had already decided like he just wasn't going to be there for Carolina for whatever reason. I just had it in my mind that like, I don't know, maybe the Patriots needed him and would take him before he got down to us at number 8. But so that's why, you know, when you asked me on draft night, you said you've always been kind of neutral. Yeah, I was neutral because I didn't think we had a shot. I thought he was going to be gone already. Because I mean, those top wide receivers, they get plucked early, you know, and the same thing with the tackles. And you don't know what the teams are going to do because a lot of those teams, you know, we all won like 4 games and 3 games and stuff. Everybody drafting at the top, so they needed tackles and wide receivers. So you just didn't know how it was going to fall. But luckily, he did fall to us. And you were talking about kind of a range. I'd say, you know, most fans are hoping and wishing with their fingers crossed he gets 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. I just think that's the number that fans are hoping and wishing for. I don't think most fans believe he'll get 700 or less. But to me, that would be like the floor. Like he comes out with 700 yards this year. Please more than 4 touchdowns. For whatever reason, for the Carolina Panthers, that 4 touchdown mark is just brutal on wide receivers. And as long as he can break that number, 5, 6, whatever the number is fine with me. 700 yards will be the floor, and everybody's hoping and wishing for 1,000.
I'm a believer. I'm going to tell you on my numbers right now. I think 7 and 7 are good numbers. 700 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. To me, that's not crazy. And it's not outside of the realm of possibility either. Like, we're going to use those play action passes to get him open downfield. And you see I have his route trees up right here. Dude, those corner routes, post routes, those out routes and dig routes across the middle of the field, those are the areas where Bryce Young thrives. So that's why I was a little bit confused by, for example, Steve Smith. And we'll play Steve Smith here in a minute and his opinion on it. But I was kind of confused that Steve Smith wasn't understanding of the type of vision that Dave Canales has for the offense. Yeah, who else wants to jump in on this? Hey, let me also, go ahead, Surfside, and then we'll welcome someone into the show.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, originally I didn't want I should say, Tetairoa on my team because of our awful defense. When I see him in his highlights and he's like snatching the ball out of the air, just going for that ball, I think that's so impressive. I hope XL watches that and starts snatching the ball in the air also and not letting it come to you, because he just looks so good doing that, man. So now I'm glad we got both of them as our first-round picks. I think they can work well together. Twin Towers. And I'm hoping for I don't really want to put a number on it though, but I just want him to be out there doing his thing and everything, because I'm just can't wait for the season, like you, Cody. You know.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm definitely more pumped for this season than I have been in a very long time.
Me too.
Very hopeful. A lot of hope this year.
A ton of hope.
Cody, one thing I talked to you on Desmond's show about this is that I didn't know it would be Tet, because I think we wanted to have multiple timelines. I didn't realize dude's only 21 years old. So you got 21-year-old Tet, you got 23-year-old Coker, 24-year-old Leggett, and now you have 29-year-old Renfrow. I think he's making the team. We can talk about it later. And then 35 Thielen. We are working on those same multiple timelines. So in that sense, it's also a really, really good fit.
Yeah, 100%. And dude, this is a loaded wide receiver room. More loaded than I remember this room being in a very, very long time. Let me welcome in my friend from the 704 Charlotte Bound Show, Twan Don, back on the free for all. Twan, what's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? Good evening, man.
Now, Twan, I was trying to remember what your opinion on Tet was, because I feel like whenever you were on the show, we were talking defense or I don't know, just talking something else. I don't remember what your initial opinion on Tetairoa McMillan was. Fill me in, man. How are you feeling about him as a player? What are reasonable expectations? And how do you feel about the Panthers drafting him top 10?
I didn't really have an opinion on Tet like that because I was thinking defense. But I mean, I did a breakdown on him, and I'm not upset with the pick. I don't think Tet was the best wide receiver in his draft, but he's with us now, and that's the only wide receiver I'm going to concentrate on. He's a Panther now. It looks like he wanted to be a Panther, so that's another plus. So I'm all in on him. It doesn't matter what I feel about other receivers now. Top 10 pick, we'll have to wait and see. You know what I'm saying? He got the skills and the attributes. He's not a home run wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? The home run wide receivers are non-route wide receivers, and the quarterback in college didn't have a big arm either. You know that, right? But the post routes and things like that, where he can get out. This is a guy that's just gonna get you chunk yardage. I like him, man. I like his height. I wouldn't mind him putting on a few pounds. Get a little bigger. Because, the wide receivers, the corners and the DBs going to test his strength at the next level. And, he's with us. So I can't concentrate on negatives.
Yeah, man, we're moving forward. Yeah, he's a Panther. We're ready to pull for him. I'm the same way. I'm believing in the vision that Dave Canales has for this team. Listen, I'm gonna play a clip of Tet McMillan on Travis Hunter. It's almost sure to get us demonetized. If you would like to support us by being a super fan, hit that join button at the bottom. Or, man, just like and subscribe to content. Consider donating. That helps us bring us this year-round content for Carolina Panther fans. But I'm going to play it, man. This is Tetairoa McMillan versus Travis Hunter. pretty much all their reps one-on-one. And, you really see a lot of the areas and the attributes that they love from a receiver like Tet, one-handed against Travis Hunter in the back of the end zone, huge hands, and you can just envision Bryce is going to be able to trust, hey, man, T-Mac is down there somewhere. I'm going to get the ball to him. That shuffle. Ooh, bad ball. That would have been a hospital ball right there.
I love how he can get off the line.
So there was
Cody,
one by Travis Hunter.
He's going to be a red zone monster and third down monster.
Absolutely.
Back shoulder throws, man, all day.
Yeah, that was a bad throw. Also, this is one of my areas of concern. Not concern, but I want to know how he does against press man corners in the NFL and how much of it will be a problem for him. I don't think that it will, but it's going to be a tough ask to win those jump balls all the time. But I do think he has the potential to be an incredible jump ball receiver in the NFL. Holding also, Travis Hunter had the jersey by a handful.
Yeah. I will say this about him, though. Man, bro, Tet, look, okay, so you put a better quarterback with Tet in college, he would have been.
What is his numbers?
I believe he would
like,
undoubtedly have been the best wide receiver in college, man. I mean, he had a trash quarterback, and he did all of that with a trash quarterback. So I can only think positive and up with a decent one.
Also, think about what Excel's going to do with him, man. Like, Excel not playing the X and playing his natural position, I think Excel's going to break out this year.
He's going to thrive in this offense. I posted it on X. On paper, our offense for the foreseeable future is going to be really good. Now, they got to come out there and they got to work for it and they got to, show up on game day. But on paper, it's looking really nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Jake, how do you feel about Tet McMillan? Do you have any doubts that he's the number one wide receiver?
No. Well, you know me on draft night. I thought either we was going to go defense at 8 or trade back. I'd even have an offensive player in mind. Now, I had offensive players that I liked. Like Tyler Warren was up there. Tet was on there too. I'm not going to say that he was my number one because that'd be a lie. But when I first saw that we picked him, I was all in because I understood why Dan Morgan made this pick. But this is also a Bryce Young guy. Bryce Young likes T-Mac.
Yeah, say that, man.
That's what I'm saying. So I understood right then and there. I was like, okay, I understood it. Now, if I didn't really look into it and I just had another reaction to it, I probably would have been upset and mad about the pick. But at the every draft day, I always, no matter who we draft, I'm all in on that guy. I don't care who it is. They're a Panther fan for life at that point until they're not on our team.
Yeah. No, dude, absolutely.
I think it's worth mentioning that he liked Excel too. So
yes, he did.
I'm not going off any of the semantics or penny pinching and nothing like that. This year I'm just gonna hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about games and predictions and shit, but I'm not predicting anything. I just think that on paper, that's what I'm riding with, and what I know this team can be over 3 years and not immediately next year.
Yeah. All right, man. Are y'all ready for this? What we about to play, man? Y'all probably already know what's coming. We've watched
another mock draft.
No, not a mock draft.
Okay.
No, we have to discuss the man who is, as he always was, one of the most controversial figures in Panther fandom. Our very own Steve Smith. And he drew a lot of
not like this guy, man.
Bro,
he drew not like him.
You're not alone, man. You're not alone. Now, I made a point on Twitter, but what I want to do is I want to let Steve voice his opinions, and then we're gonna go through what we think is fair, unfair, maybe Steve being a little salty. We're gonna break it all down, but let's listen to what the legend Steve Smith had to say about Tetairoa McMillan.
It threw me off because now you got some good picks later in the round, some what they call value picks. But when you're looking at this defense who gave up a ton of points, you don't really want to add value picks. You want to add game changers.
Yeah. And you had an opportunity to do that.
Correct. And is T-Mac a game changer? Here's my answer to that. Like I stated, at the college level, he changed the game. He did a great job. And I've never met the young man personally, so I have no ill will towards him. I don't dislike him, and I don't like him. Meaning, I haven't met him to give you a fair assessment. All I can do is look at his film and evaluate him as his film. I don't know him personally. Obviously, he's going to be here in Charlotte, so I will get to know him if we choose to have that relationship. If we don't, I'm going through some stuff. Hey, yeah, things happen, right? You know what I'm saying?
Detours occur.
Yeah. But I thought was interesting is when I break down that receiver room, you have Adam Thielen, possession receiver, Jalen Coker, possession receiver. I guess David Moore's a speed guy.
Okay.
Maybe he's a speed guy. What would you say? He's
the fact that he mentions David Moore.
It's more that than possession.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might even make
Xavier Liggett. What would you consider him?
Work in progress.
Thank you. So work in progress means technically right now possession because you're really not sure what you're going to get out of him. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. And then they just got my dog. And I call him my dog because I love him, man. Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow ain't outbeating paint drying, okay? That Hunter is not, that ain't who he is. That's not what he's doing. And he'll tell you that. You go and get in the 6th round with the 208th overall pick, Jimmy Horn, which is speed. But prior to 208th in the 6th round, you drafted what you already had in the room. And I was shocked when you have a Matthew Golden with speed. I mean, you had Higgins who went later. So it was just a lot of things.
So that's what Steve Smith had to say. I want to start by being fair, right? I agree with what Jake said. Tetairoa McMillan is a Panther. So I am pulling for that dude. I think that he can be really good. And I believe in the vision that Dave Canales has. But this is sort of what I was saying about Tet McMillan before the draft. So I don't want to be unfair to Steve and be like, oh, Steve is just a hater. I do think there's a difference between being a hater and having a legitimate criticism. I do feel like Steve is trying to make a legitimate point. However, fans, because of recent events and just because he's been very vocal about a lot of things that Panther fans don't necessarily agree with. Steve has sort of become like a pariah amongst Panther fans, and they're calling him a hater for this take. What do you make of what Steve had to say? And is he just being a hater? Is there any truth to what Steve just said at all whatsoever? Whoever wants to jump on it.
Yeah, I say this. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. Just I just on top of my head.
No, you're fine, man.
What did he say? It was just like was all not like he gave no examples. It's like we should have gone defense. Okay, then what defensive player would have been the game changer that's that much better than Scorton? Like Mikael Williams, he would have been like how much better is he than Scorton? Just give me an example. Well, the league didn't think Walker was that much better because Walker dropped. The league didn't think that Golden was that much better because he went 23rd. So the league was saying the Rams wanted to trade up, the 49ers wanted to trade up, Dallas wanted to like the league, good teams are saying that, yo, we want this guy. And the asinine, there's only possession receivers and there's only speed. You played in the league, bro. You know that's not the case. Like DeAndre Hopkins ain't separating from anybody right now. Like T. Higgins ain't separated. Like these guys, if they're different kind of players, it's not speed versus possession. And the way that he just basically said nothing. And that's what's killing me is that give me an example of who we should have picked at the defense, what receiver we should have got later. Like walk me through how the draft could have been better for us. And what you said, it kind of just seems like he was wrong. So he's kind of butthurt about it. I think that's
defensive
more of what I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, like defensive. Like he feels like he has to
Yeah.
defend himself since he was already critical of him, and then the Panthers drafted him. Yeah, it did seem a little defensive at times, and I think we all feel like Princely and Nick are more than just value picks. They're more like these are dudes that had Nick Scorton was a top 10 pick in 2 early mock drafts last year. Just 2 years ago he had 10.5 sacks. So I don't agree with that assessment. Who else wants to jump in on this?
Well, I agree. We don't have a speed demon, but hey, Ted Ginn Jr.'s been gone for a long time, But I like big possession receivers. I mean, I love to have our own Evans, on our own team. That would be a lovely thing. I don't need to have a speed demon everywhere. I just want guys who can grab the ball and not be afraid to do what they got to do, and block too, of course.
Well,
Yeah.
let me step in, Cody.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be completely honest about this situation, bro. Look, I'm not speaking as Twan. I'm speaking as a football player.
Tell me, man.
And some shit that I've seen before on teams that I played on. First of all right, Steve Smith, the person outside of football, is a very cocky motherfucker, bro. Let me tell you why, man. Something's wrong with you when you say what you say about players over the years that come to Carolina, knowing you're going to have to face these people or see them at some point. And then Steve Smith is the type of guy, like we saw with Jerry Jeudy unfold, where you speak all this dumb shit, and then you get mad when these guys don't care for you in person, don't want to shake your hand or whatever. So when he said, when he sees these guys, they're not going to remember, they're not going to forget put a helmet on you guys' head and imagine you working your ass off in practice, and then the guy who said you was a value pick walks onto the field and tries to shake. I'm not shaking your fucking hand, bro. You know what I'm saying? I respect you as a legend of football. The other thing is this. I'm not going to get into it, but Steve Smith got too much shit going on in his personal life to be out here bad-mouthing or lower expectation guys in the league. Man, you focus on your fucking self first. You might need to step away from football for a little bit. I'm not trying to tell him you got to do that, but look, you need to focus on what's going on personally a little bit and stop giving these racy-ass takes for right now, because based on your personal life and the public opinion, people are not going to really listen to you too hot right now anyway, so it's kind of falling on deaf ears. This is my final point, and I'm done. Steve Smith we picked him in the 5th round?
Yeah, later on. It was after the 3rd, I know.
He turned out to be a fucking beast on the field. But I still feel like dude holds on to that grudge. You know what I'm saying? Ted McMillan ain't playing special teams.
Yeah.
Ted McMillan ain't playing on the kickoff team or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So the thing was, think about what people felt about you, Steve Smith, when you came to the league. I didn't even know who the fuck you was, bro. He played for Utah.
He was drafted in the 3rd, actually.
So for you to be a ex-Panther and you just, we ain't asking you to be a silly-ass fan and say shit that make us happy. But, dude, you act like you was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Probably could have been in some people's eyes. But dude just seems like he loves, and a lot of people would think this is rich coming out of my mouth. It seems like dude loves controversy, bro. Like,
it
if
does, man.
everybody's going left, I'm going to go right.
He sort of thrives off of it now. I feel like him and Cam Newton a little bit sort of thrive off of it now. Go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say, ultimately, I just think T-Mac wasn't a Steve Smith guy. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. He's a coach, though.
Only Jonathan Mingo could be a Steve Smith guy.
Mingo was the guy. He talked to the DJ Moore when he got here. I mean, the dude got a problem, bro. I'm trying to
go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to say, everybody has the people that they like. I mean, when we did mock drafts, there were certain guys like, you know what I'm saying? I like this guy better. We all had guys that would try to avoid in a mock draft or care less for. And I just think, ultimately, to Steve Smith, T-Mac's just a guy that, he wasn't high on his board. Steve Smith even said he hasn't met him personally. So, I don't think he has a grudge against him personally because he ain't met him. So it's got to be
Right.
something that I don't know what else it could be. I mean, I hate to see and hear from players like that, but it is what it is. We're all
Yeah.
Hey,
I would say
Jay,
I'm
how come
5'9",
how come
and
the
I like
Panthers?
other 5'9" guys, so maybe he's short
Yeah.
and he likes other short guys. So
Hey, I'm
It's
5'8".
Hey, what?
it's that
Anybody
chip
ever
on your
wonder
shoulder,
why?
man.
Anybody wonder why the Carolina Panthers has never offered Steve Smith a real job with the Panthers or whatever? I'm telling you, bro. You never. I'm gonna tell you why. You never let a person like Steve Smith, that's got that much bullshit with him, get near your fucking team, bro.
But
Because
do
he'll
you
piss
remember,
everybody
Dwan?
off on that damn
Dwan, do
team,
you
bro.
remember? But you also remember before the Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield, Steve Smith was one of the biggest Baker Mayfield haters that there was.
Yeah,
Like he
bro.
was, he was on panels making fun of him and shit. Wild times. Look at my man Diesel Skills. Deez, what do you make about what Steve Smith had to say about Tetairoa? And then we'll move on to our to all the other draft picks that we made. Go ahead, Deez.
I've said it before, Cody. I'll say it again. Podcasters say controversial things. And, it seems like Steve and Cam keep pushing the controversial button. Like, okay, well, let's say something against the grain and let's get some views on the pod and let's get some people fired up and some interaction. And I get it. I understand where they're coming from. It's part of the game, and you can't hate the player. You know what I mean? Just hate the game. But to me, to take the consensus number one overall wide receiver and say he was like the fifth best wide receiver in the draft is silly. And to call somebody that ran a 4.39 in the combine a possession receiver because he doesn't have speed, that's kind of silly too. I mean, XL's got speed for days, man. I mean, I bet if he ran the 40 now, he might run something a little lower. What if he ran a 4.34? Is he still a possession guy, Steve? I mean, I think he's got tons of speed out there, and he's going to look a lot better with Ted on the other side. Like we were saying earlier, this is not a bad pick, and people can frame it how they want to, and if they don't like the pick, that's fine, and I understand 100%. But the fact of the matter is, you took the best wide receiver in this class. The class was bemoaned by the NFL. There wasn't a ton of guys that were taken high. Golden was, of course, but he really broke out considering what people expected of him this past year, where Tet was solid over the past 2 seasons with over 1,300 yards in both of them. We saw if he's producing at that level in college with a quarterback who certainly wasn't highly touted, I can only imagine that you pair him with Bryce Young and he's going to be fine and just successful in the NFL. And to take a stance otherwise is just kind of a fantasy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mic drop. That was good. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Dude, that's what Diesel Skills does, man. He drops the mic. I do like the comment from Daniel Trejo. It says everyone has an opinion. I'm not mad at Steve for that. I didn't think the Panthers were taking Tet. However, that pick grew on me real fast. I'm of the same mindset. I didn't at first love it, but it has grown on me very, very fast and faster than I thought that it would. Let me welcome in Vegas Panthers Drew back on the free for all. Drew, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How you guys?
I'm doing good, man. What do you make of what Steve Smith had to say?
Well, I guess everybody is on his ass here about it. I don't get it. Like I get he's there for his own opinion. Sometimes, he'll say things to, clickbaitish type of stuff where you want to get people to, listen to your pod, which is fine, whatever. But I don't think it's all that outlandish. You don't know that he's not a possession receiver. He's a big dude. He doesn't run the crispest routes. Like, he's not trash. You could be critical of someone saying better in positions and then also say that, they're still a high pick. I get you got to also remember he's like, a 5'9" speed effort guy.
Yeah.
And he likes guys that are his makeup. He's a big guy. He sees a big guy that has those interviews early in his career that was like, doesn't look like he loves ball like he does. It's like when you watch Michael Jordan talk about other players where he's like, get on my level or get out of here. Like, if you don't love this, I don't want to mess with you. Like, I think that's kind of a little Steve mindset with him as well, is that if he's not, if you don't want to, this isn't your thing. If you don't love the game, you're not going to last long.
Yeah. Surfside Steve, did you have anything you wanted to say about Steve Smith before we go on to Nick Scorton?
Great player, big mouth. Too much of a big mouth now, though. But was a great player.
All right.
But 1,300 yards 2 years in a row. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Hey,
He's always had a big mouth. It's not just now.
Yeah, hey,
Words.
I mean, I love Smith and stuff. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but he still says things that are kind of silly.
Yeah,
I agree with a lot what he said. Like I said about him, like being possibly. Sorry, my kid's crazy. Possibly being a possession receiver, but at the same, like, someone was on the chat was like, "Oh, you can play the slot." I'm like, dude, if you're playing our top pick in the slot, we're in rough shape. Like,
my thing is, I just don't know what his point is. Like, what's your point? We should have drafted a guy that went 23rd at 8, or we should have drafted Mikael Williams.
Yeah.
I don't understand what we could have done better in his eyes. All he was like critical. He was just critical about it, and he didn't say.
I think he's thinking like I am. Where his point is that we've drafted dudes of the same mold. We're gonna have 3 receivers of our top 5 that are all like, I won't say they're carbon cuts, but they're cut from the same cloth. Oh, jeez, my kid's crazy. Cut from
but if we all wanted them to go, if we wanted them all go BPA, like everybody say, let's go BPA, then we definitely should have gone Golden. And then, like, listen to what other teams are saying. They're saying that they were wanting to trade up to 8 to get 10, or they thought highly of 10. So if he's BPA, then
I'm not even saying that. That's what I'm saying. He could be I still think he's better than the other receivers. I'm just saying that he's kind of a redundancy.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm saying I wish that he would have given us an alternative, like what he would have done. All he did was basically complain instead of give an alternative.
Well, let me say this. I feel like maybe he was talking about Jalen Walker, who we were very, very high on. We had met with him a ton. And if you believe that Jalen Walker is the next iteration of Micah Parsons, well, then, yeah, I can understand that, and only time will tell. But as of right now, I do not blame them for putting the utmost importance on Bryce Young having enough weapons in his 3rd year in the NFL. And I'm not going to be mad at him for that. I do want to move on.
Morgan said, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I want to say this.
Let me let Steve, and then I'll let Twan, and then we'll move on to Nick. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, if you listen to some of Morgan's interviews and everything, he said that the draft was full of great edge people and defenders and everything, but it was very slim on top receivers. So he took the receiver now, and obviously he was able to get 2 great defensive players later on. So I think Morgan and the other guys played their hand great. And I also think that Walker is a tweener, and that gets me a little concerned, tweeners sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
go ahead, Twan.
Evidently, that word tweener is the 2025 new word. Hey, look, man. Look, man. As time's going on, do we really give a fuck about what Steve Smith says, man? It's entertaining, man. But look, I thought it was a slight disrespect to Canales and Morgan, because I thought they did a great job with this draft. And I'm telling you, like, Steve is a habitual line stepper. You pretty much told both of them you didn't like what they did in the draft. I asked you a question earlier. Man, they ain't never asked him to have a job on us. Man, because they don't give a fuck what Steve Smith cares or thinks about. They clearly didn't think that way. They didn't call him on the phone and say, who should we take or whatever, like who somebody claimed in the past. Steve Smith, man, bro, listen, you're not a coach. You know what I'm saying? You're not, you talk about the organization, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But Dan Morgan, North Canales picked up their phone to call Steve Smith to get his advice on anything.
That's true. And the last time we did that, we drafted Jonathan Mango. So
there you go.
And
that's why they don't call his ass no more.
But hey, man, let me move on to the rest of this draft, because boys, this is where the meat on the bone is. Okay, so we traded our 57th pick, 74th, 111, and 230 to move up to 51 overall to draft Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M. The dude is a monster, only 20 years old. Now he's around 6'3", 260 pounds, only 1 year removed from 10.5 sacks. He is the type of player that can be a stand-up outside linebacker type or play with his hand in the dirt as a 4-3 defensive end, has strength, power, and a never-ending motor. Boys, how do we feel about the Panthers moving up into the second round to draft Nick Scorton? It's a free-for-all, damn it. Jump on it, boys.
Fantastic.
Like I said, man, like
Well,
I didn't like I said, I didn't know much about him. You know what I mean? I was like everybody else. I was looking at guys like Mike Green and the dude from Ohio State and those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so whenever they picked him, I was like, who the hell is this? Then I went and looked at a little bit of highlights, and I looked at his, like everybody else do, looked at his wiki, whatever you call it, and I mean, from what I've seen from the experts, everybody likes him. So I mean, he has good size. I mean, he looks beefy. He looks like a guy who can play inside and out. He can rush from the inside and rush from the outside. So I mean, for me, it's more of a wait and see. But right now, I'm gonna give it a C plus. Right now.
All right, C plus.
Okay, Lux, man, you got to start watching some more college football, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy was a steal. This dude was a steal. And he's 20 years old.
Tell him again, Twan. One more time.
He was a fucking steal, and he was 20 years old. I ain't going to go into all of that, man. Y'all know what this man can do. He ain't the total sack guy, but it may be at the next level. But, bruh, your quarterback is running for his life back there. He puts on tremendous pressures. He's going to cause a lot of interceptions, man, with the guys that we got. All the sacks, too. I mean, look, man, I can't say enough about him. I want to let you guys get it in, though. I'm done.
So I'll talk about.
I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking of Charles Johnson, who was involved in every play, didn't get all the sacks in the world, but had like 50-something, and was powerful and strong. And in the middle, I can see Charles Johnson roll for this man.
Yeah, I see some Charles Johnson. Big money in the way he plays. Alex, what say you, man?
So I just love. So I talk about this on a show. I'm not promoting my show, but I talk about just like I talked about good teams are picking wide receivers early. We start a run with good teams picking edges. So 7 non-playoff teams picked edges before us. We traded up right ahead of Tennessee, who probably was going to draft Scorton, and got our guy. So we perfectly played it. And then after Tennessee went, 11 of the next 12 edges that went to playoff teams from last year. And then other than us and the Cardinals got an A+ draft from PFF as well. So we're doing the process that good organizations do. And that's what I really love about this, where we're picking these guys. Granted, I personally love Scorton. I personally love Princely. I don't know. I'm going to have to see him on the field. But I love our process and what we're doing because we're getting the guys at the right time and right before guys would be drafted. Because I felt like a Panthers fan for the last 10 years. We always saw guys that we wanted go right before us. And now we're the team that's trading up to get the guys right before other teams. And it feels so much better when it's the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many teams that were very high on him as a defensive prospect and player.
Yes, sir. Hey, Cody, real quick, listen. What I love about Dan Morgan, and I said this on the C3, shout out to C3 Legion.
Yes, sir.
I was iffy on Dan Morgan, but he made me happy with his jacket. I said on day one, I said Atlanta won day one. Damn, bro. Dan Morgan said, Twan, you know what? Watch this. Scorton and Princely.
Yes, he did.
Bro, that was a chess move, bro.
Really was.
Let me get him my man Cole. Cole, what do you make of Nick Scorton, and how do you think he fits into this defense, man?
once I dug into it more, Cody, I really liked the move. I mean, and you called it out too. I mean, I know we were just watching highlights, but these dudes, him and Princely, have a ridiculous motor, and they are going to chase down and hunt the passers damn near on every play and give it all they have. So I love that coming in here. And then naturally, they're going to get bigger, stronger, faster. And you're already talking about super freak athletes. I think they're going to be very dangerous in this league, Cody.
Yes, sir, Cole. Green
Yes, sir.
Berets.
And I'm wondering also. I mean, Atlanta traded the first round pick next year to go back into the round to get Pierce. I think his name is. How much
What are they
better would
doing?
Pierce be than Nick anyway? You know, and
Yeah,
we didn't have to trade shit.
Great point. Great point.
We didn't sell our soul for shit.
We're doing what the good teams do instead of doing like that bullshit we used to do.
Yeah.
Finally.
And this is a guy that, you know, if you read into his story, he didn't even have a diet plan. He used to pretty much eat everything. And then here recently, he finally got a diet plan. So
he's just
he's
now
been
figuring
practicing
that
at
shit
a
out.
great weight. Like, he's going to be playing at the natural weight that he should play at.
Bro, look at that inside spin maneuver. That was nasty as fuck, man. The dude is just so electric. And I like what the write-up said, too. His ability to play standing and with his hand in the dirt. Boys, what have we been saying? We don't want players that are dependent upon a Giro Avero, who, if you love him or hate him, is probably not going to be our defensive coordinator after this next season. So you're talking about a player who isn't scheme dependent, and I love that, man. I really do love that.
Like, this is where we were drafting YG. We were drafting YGM here 5 years ago.
No, that's 100% truth, man.
Yeah. How many of you guys saw when we drafted Scorton? And Cody, it would be dope if you could pull that up. And when he got that tall, he slapped all those fucking hats off that table.
Yeah,
said,
I love that.
You guys are gonna have to pay me for not picking me up.
He's tenacious. I love that.
I got so hyped, bro.
Love it, man. Love this pick. Diesel Skills, tell me about Nick. Are you loving this pick for us, man?
Yeah, it was crazy. So we were on the pod Thursday night when this, or was it? Yeah, it was the next day. It was on Friday night when this happened. A week ago from today, and I was looking at PFF big board, and I'm like, man, Scorton's still there. I was like, Pickle, do you think we'll take Scorton? And he was like, nah, he's like a 4.3 edge guy. But not knowing at the time he had already dropped 20 pounds down to 260. And not really understanding that at Purdue he played standing up and in the season he had there, and not really understanding the fact that when he going to Texas A&M, having a brand new coach, brand new scheme, the guy from the Duke Blue Devils, it changed his stats and what he was able to accomplish through the season. It was muffled and muted compared to what he did the year before. All those things I didn't know, and learning all that changed that a lot. And I think the versatility to what you were speaking of, a guy that can go up to 280 pounds and play in the 4.3 might be a good investment, considering Avero is on the last year of his contract, and we just don't know how this defense is going to come together this season for the Carolina Panthers. I think that was a smart investment for Dan Morgan to make. We didn't really lose a whole lot, especially when you put those trades up. Like, they never showed us that during the draft when it was taking place itself. Or if they did, it was so quick, like you couldn't really understand what had happened. But it was a small trade back that we did throughout the entire draft that gave us the ability to go get a guy ranked at number 24 on the PFF big board. So, yeah, I love the pick. I love the big size defensive ends anyway. A guy that can go up to 280 at 6'4" is definitely my kind of 4.3 defensive end, in my opinion. Yeah. And when you watch him play, like we watch those highlights, he doesn't play like that weight, you know, and he can go down to 260 or 257, whatever he is now, and really play the flat for Avero if that's what Avero needs him to do. I think it's really interesting. He's got the length to bat the ball down, too, if he doesn't get home to the pass rusher. Yeah. And Scorton, there's a lot to be excited about for a guy that's not even legal to buy a drink at the bar yet.
Man, that is wild.
He's crushing. He's crushing today.
Bro, Diesel Skills is the man. And, dude, that's such a great point, too. This man is not old enough to buy a Bud Light, man. He's not old enough, dude. This dude has the rest of his football future and potential out in front of him. And, look, I think we love that pick even better. And actually, one shout out to Panther Pickle at a gas station in West Virginia, still shouting out the boys. Love you, Panther Pickle. Drive safe, brother. But one of the reasons why we love this draft so much is how heavily Dan Morgan prioritized the edges for the Carolina Panthers by going up yet again in another trade for Princely McMillan, who a lot of Panther fans felt could have been our second pick, and we would have had no problem with it. Like, this is what we were saying earlier. We know a lot of these players. These are not a bunch of no-name players that we're left to wonder, hey, who the hell is that dude? I've never watched him play a day in my life. That is not true for these dudes, man. Highly, highly talented.
Somebody got to hit the mute button, man.
Yeah, if you're not talking, hit your mute button. So that way we don't get your background noise. I think I know where it's coming from. But yeah, Princely McMillan, 6'4", 244 pounds, had a pressure rate of 18.5 last season. He finished with 10.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and consistently lived in opposing backfields. He wins 1v1s at a 22% clip. He fits perfectly into Ejiro Rivera's fast attacking defensive scheme. He has an incredible ceiling. Boys, what do we make of our third pick, Princely McMillan?
Another
Jump
impact
on.
player. Another guy that's going to be day one
Another
effective
fucking
on the
steal.
defense.
And we did it again. We jumped right ahead at Arizona at the right time, like right in front, and then they had to take Birch. It was just magnificent, man. It was just perfectly. Morgan killed it. He crushed it.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say about it.
Perfect.
77th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Princely McMillan. Let's go!
Fast and aggressive, wraps up, never finishes on the play, or never doesn't finish on the play. Has that incredible bend around the corner. I mean, dude, he will put opposing tackles in a blender. I know a lot of people prefer this pick even over Nick Scorton because they feel that he is that true 3-4 outside linebacker. Boys, how are we feeling about Princely, man?
Cody, neither one. Look, man, I wouldn't put either one of these guys over each other. They both bring beautiful things, man, to the game.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a yin and yang situation, bro. So I mean, I wouldn't dare pit them against each other, man, and lower that for them. But look, they were both great, man. And I feel like Dan Morgan, this was a direct response to what Atlanta did. And he said, y'all did that. Okay, watch me do this. And I ain't giving up shit.
Yeah, 100%. Jake the Snake, jump in on this, bro. How you feeling about Princely McMillan?
I love it. I mean, like I said, this is another guy alongside Nick Scorton that's going to be an impactful player from the get-go. I'm not going to give out stats or nothing like that, but, I mean, they automatically make our defense better. I mean, we were so thin. We've been thin the last few years with depth on edge rushers, on defense in general. And, I mean, I remember fans when we drafted him, hey, the draft could have ended right there. A lot of fans would have been happy with it. Just because of how they went back-to-back edge rushers, impactful players, I'm all for it.
Love it,
those
man.
first three picks.
He really did. Cole, if you're still in here, jump in on it, man.
I am, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Right back to what I said about the last edge rusher. You got a guy here that hunts the quarterback. He looks like he has a high motor. He's super athletic, and he's only going to improve on all those things. He's going to be a difference maker.
Surfside Steve, how you feel about Princely McMillan?
I'm a big dreamer, but I'm looking at him. I'm seeing Brian Burns, number 2. Maybe he'll make the connection, and hit the guy and make that connection. Instead of being Mr. Almost, he'll be the successful version of Brian Burns. That'd be kind of cool. I'm off. And Charles Johnson is number 2 with Nick. So, hey, we're bringing back 2020, 2025 or 15.
No, 100%. And it is weird. I feel like there are players all up and down our draft that remind us of other former Panther players. So you mentioned Charles Johnson for Nick Gordon, and that is a great comparison. I do see a lot of Brian Burns' athleticism in Princely McMillan, and I think at the outside linebacker position, we have not had that type of athleticism. So I love that we're finally seeing that now as, this incredibly talented player is rushing for the Panthers. Deez, talk to me about McMillan, man.
Just a great job by Dan Morgan looking across the landscape of the draft and seeing that the game changers had to go early. The guys that Steve Smith said that weren't there or weren't available. And he looked across the draft and he said, well, there's not a ton of wide receivers here that are game changers. I'm going to go with the consensus number 1 wide receiver and assume that he's going to be a game changer because he certainly was at Arizona. And I'm going to play to the strength of this draft, where there's a ton of defensive tackles, a ton of defensive ends, guys that can rush the passer, that are ample and available for me to draft. And that's exactly what he did. He double dipped there and bolstered this Carolina Panthers defensive line, building it in the same image that he built that offensive line last season. And that's why I think everyone loves this draft so much. Here's a guy you bring in that can squat 700 pounds, dedicated to his craft, dedicated to working out in the weight room. He's going to be in the weight room in Bank of America Stadium with Chuba Hubbard, as Chuba Hubbard is clinging 650 pounds, and he's squatting 700. They're going to push each other to become the best players they can be for the Carolina Panthers. Not only was it a great pick in terms of what we needed for this team, it was a great pick for the culture of the Carolina Panthers moving forward. Cody, let's fucking go.
Let's go. Diesel Skills is killing it tonight, man.
Let me give y'all.
Bro, he really is.
Hey, bro, this is the man. And by the way, Twan, you asked for this earlier, and I always deliver, man. This is Nick Gordon. Knock your hat off. He said, get that lady out
That shit off my table.
To me, you really, I consider these one draft pick. Even though they're 2 different players, both of these guys are like the fire and ice to what the Panthers need on defense right now. The strength, the finesse, they both have chips on their shoulders. They felt they were drafted way too low. They have something to prove, and I love that from a defensive player, man, from both of them.
I'm gonna tell you a little cheat code, a legit cheat code about those 2 guys, man. Both of those guys are really in their natural position, 2 really 4-3 guys, man. So Dan did that. I mean,
yes, he did.
Fill in the blank. At that defensive coordinator position, bro.
Go ahead, Alex.
We're talking about how bad this defense was last year. And after these 2 picks, we're already there's some people that are okay with this, but they're not like upset about it. But a lot of us are like, yeah, sure, trade Clowney. We went from we have to get a lot of depth on this team to all right, trade Clowney. And not be super upset about it. That's wild.
And Alex, we did mention it earlier, but you didn't have a chance to speak on that. What would you do with Jadeevon Clowney? Would you rather use that money towards maybe an extension toward Taylor Moton, maybe signing a Jermaine Pratt or a Jair Alexander, who's kind of a long shot, but I understand why people would want him? Or would you prefer to have Clowney on the team to serve as a mentor, similar to how Adam Thielen did with Jalen Coker last year?
I would say it's his call. I think if he wants to stay, we should keep him because he's already a $6 million dead cap. So then we have $7 million. If he's supposed June first cut, then you're only eating $3 million of it. It's not going to be that big of a difference as far as cap, but it's more of, does he want to be the vet on a team that's probably going to be one of his last years to basically? I think we'll be a 9-win team. I think we'll be a 9-win team. Or does he want to go to a contender for his last year or two and have a season that way. I'd love to have a vet in the locker room like him, especially he does have a voice, a respected voice in the locker room. But I'd let him make that call. I wouldn't trade him on purpose, especially because he's one of the few big time players that came here on purpose, and I would love to reward that.
Yeah, and
Diesel skills. Tell him why that's a mistake. We talked about that shit last night, man. Tell him why it's a mistake to keep Clowney, bro.
All right, how do you feel, Deez? I know you spoke about it earlier, but how do you feel?
Hey, Twan, I'm gonna kick that back to you. What were we talking about as far as it's a mistake to keep Clowney?
Let me tell you something, bro. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to pass the shield in football for somebody that is about to take their place. We cannot trust Clowney to teach these guys right. Clowney, nobody, football players are too selfish for that shit. We ain't getting the next guy ready. So if you want to get somebody else that's more invested, go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
That's what it's his call. Like, make it his call. Yeah. Hey, bro, you're not starting anymore. Like, you're going to be situational pass rusher. You're going to be what Von Miller is, but like what Justin Houston was. You're going to be situational. If you don't want that, we'll send you somewhere. But this is how this is going to affect. This is how it's going to be if you want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is this though. If you're really trying to make a push to win the division this year, which I really do think the Panthers view themselves to be contenders in the NFC South. If you're doing that and your defense was historically so bad, why wouldn't you want as much of a rotation as possible and have that veteran presence on the team? And also remember, he's at home. He wanted to be home in the Carolinas too. So it would have to be a real contender to draw him away from this place. I do think that's also something to consider too. Also, let me read this C3 love bomb, man, from Cheshire Cat with the $5. It says, future D lineman Nick Scarleton, Derek Brown, Cam Jackson, and Princely McMillan. Not too bad if I do say so myself, boys. Shout out to Cheshire Cat. Does none of that make sense, though? Maybe having that veteran presence to be that rotational player on third down, doesn't that help us more than it hurts us?
Well, Cody, are we in a position? I'm sorry. Are we in a position to give up talent at this point, especially on the defensive side? I don't think we should be giving anybody who knows how to play the game. We need all the help we can get.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's That's sort of what I'm saying. Go ahead, Cole.
No,
Twan, go ahead.
Just a quick statement. I think it's a great idea, man, if Clowney is going to be with you a couple of years. Man, nobody is going to train their replacement if they know they out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like my man said with the glasses on, he said it perfectly. It's up to him. But I'm telling them right away, bro, you ain't starting.
I'm also saying, Twan, not really for training, but just to have him as a player on those third downs, having him rushing the passer. Are we better having him than not having him?
Obviously.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously we're better having him. So you don't want the headache in the locker room if that's not what he wants.
He's more of a run-stopping defense.
Right. But we do want to stop the run, though, Locks.
I'm not trading.
Yeah. I'm saying like Clowney, he's more of a he's more of a first down, second down type guy. He's not a guy that's going to rush the passer. He's a guy that's you want a guy that's going to stop the run. And on third down, that's when you want those.
Yeah, you'll have him in on first and second, and then you put Princely and Nick on third down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that all day, man.
Yeah. The guys like Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham, those guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it's happening across the team. It's happening across the team. Like Adam Thielen's going to take less snaps this year, and he still decided to come back. Andy Dalton could have had his chance to go somewhere else and maybe start this year. He decided to come back. It's all about what these vets want, and do they want to help guide these players, or they say, hey man, I'd rather be a starter on a contender or whatever.
Yeah. No,
I
that's a
don't
good point.
even
Go ahead,
need.
Jake.
I don't even need Clowney to train them or anything like that, or show them the move. I just need Clowney to be a locker room guy, and he's a locker room guy. If y'all watched the interviews that he had last year, remember, like he was taking old man jokes, like he was getting
Yeah.
old man jokes. Like he's not a bad
Yeah.
locker room guy. So for that long, and like his leadership, I mean, he has production. Like is he in the latter end of his career? I mean, we can all agree to that, yes. But I mean, I still think he's an impactful player, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not trading him or getting rid of him unless he wants out of here. I felt the same way about Adam Thielen, and hey,
Yeah.
Adam Thielen wants to be here.
Love it, man.
I agree with Jake says, man. Listen, if he's here to just produce and then let him do his own thing, great. But don't ask him to do some shit that he ain't gonna do, man. Just ask him to be you, go out there, make some plays for us, but let somebody else bring these new guys up, bro.
Yeah.
That ain't Clowney gonna feel like that ain't his job no more.
Hey, man, I hear both sides of this argument,
Yeah.
man. That's a great point of discussion. That's definitely going to be something to keep our eyes on as we move forward. But boys, let's jump in a little deeper into this draft because, all right, I'm going to come out and say this. I believe that out of all the draft picks the Carolina Panthers made, this one is the most controversial. In the 4th round, the Carolina Panthers select Trevor Etienne Jr., brother of Clemson legend Travis Etienne.
Legend.
He is a legend, man. He has the most rushing yards in ACC history from a
Man, I'm
running
just
back.
fucking with you, man. I'm
So,
fucking with you.
You know, but this is his younger brother. And we had some Georgia fans in the chat who were not fans of Trevor Etienne. So my question to all of you is, how do you feel about the running back from Florida and Georgia, and what do you think he brings to this offense? Let me mute the volume. Go ahead, boys. What do y'all make of Trevor Etienne?
I mean, look, this is another pick that I didn't look at. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who the hell he was, but when I looked him up, you know what I'm saying? He's a little smaller, compact speed dude. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got Huber, what's the running back? Hubbard. We got Hubbard. We got the dude Dowdle from the Cowboys. I mean, the dude Trevor, I like him. I'm saying, like, I didn't know who he was, but like whenever they picked him, I liked the pick. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have much to say about it, but you know what I mean? I like it. You know what I mean? Because we need another speed guy back there because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
He's a home run hitter. Like, he really is a home run hitter. And you see on the film that I have up, man, he has great vision, great post-contact balance. He can catch passes throughout the backfield. Very, very shifty, and is a home run hitter. To me, this is the type of player who has the potential to be a better professional player than he was a college football player. But I love the versatility, the different aspects to how he plays. I'm a fan of it, man. I'm a fan of it.
I am too. Look, man, bro, you got Chuba and Dowd are gonna coach this guy up, bro. He going to 2,000-yard backs. You think they ain't gonna teach him every trick that they fucking know, bro? And get this guy ready. You see how Chuba works out. Chuba gonna get with this guy, you know what I'm saying, on some personal situations and get him right or whatever, because he's gonna replace Dowdle at some point, man. You think Chuba ain't gonna get him right? Chuba can also tell him they didn't believe in me either, brother. So I know how you feel coming in. You know what I'm saying? And look where I'm at now. Signed this contract, got a lot of people out here mad, including some Panthers fans saying that we shouldn't have paid Chuba. Get the hell out of here, man. Chuba gonna get this dude right because he's
I am one of Chuba's oldest defenders. I am one of Chuba's. I am one. Listen, I am so proud. I am so proud to say I am one of Chuba Hubbard's oldest defenders. Even when people were clowning him for dropping passes, I was always a fan of Chuba. And I wanted to hire Dan Morgan before we hired Scott Fitterer. So I have been a fan of those two forever. That's a feather in my cap, if I do say so myself. But let me bounce it around. Let me go to
Who did I tell y'all last year? Who did I tell y'all was going to be the best player on our team last year? Who's going to have his breakout season? I'm waiting.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
man,
Cody.
it's
Tell him.
Robert.
Tell him, Cody.
Uh,
Cuba.
let me go to Jake, and then we'll go to Alex. Jake, what do you think about Trevor Etienne, and what does this mean for Jonathan Brooks, who we drafted in the second round last year?
I like this pick. I like it mainly because not only is he going to be fresher legs for you as a rotational piece at running back, he's got that kick returner. Like he can be a threat at kick returner along with Jimmy Horner as well. I like the pick. And when it comes to Jonathan Brooks, I mean, Jonathan Brooks is, he's healing, so I can't really add much more to that because, I mean, you got to worry about that down the road.
Yep. No, a lot of great points. Alex, what say you, man?
First of all, like I've been saying about every other pick, and I got to echo. Anybody else got to echo?
Yeah, whoever. Hold on, let me see. Someone has an echo. Hey, mute your microphone if you're not. I think that's Twan. Yeah, that was Twan. I got you.
Yes. So anyway, it's the same thing. I listened to your I re-listened to your guys' draft, and Pickle was like all about Ransom here, right? He wanted the Ransom pick. It's wild. We still got Ransom, and we are able to get this pick. And when we got ETN, who comes trading up? Good teams, Texans, Rams, because we started another mini run, and we are the team that started again. So it's excellent process, one. And two, man, I'm a second child. I love getting second children. So they're always dogs. They're always competitive. They always show up. James Cook, second-year Pro Bowl. Trevon Diggs, second-year Pro Bowl. Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer when he was Sterling Sharp. T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year when J.J. Watt was Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Bosa better than Joey Bosa. Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce. Like, second kids are so competitive. They want to be so much like their older brother, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. I always want to take a chance on the second kid because they have so much to prove because they were always in their older brother's shadow or older sister's shadow. Sister shadow, say like Reggie Miller versus Cheryl Miller. Like, I love getting second kids. If you want that dog, that more.
Yeah. Dude, that's
bro,
a great point.
Bro. I never thought of that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never considered that ever one time, Alex. That was fire. Fire.
Great take, bro.
These little skills. What do you say about one Trevor Etienne, and how does he fit into the offense? And what do you think this means for Jonathan Brooks in the future?
Ooh, Alex set me up perfectly because our running backs coach has 15 years of NFL experience. And guess what other running back he coached? Yep, Travis and Trevor. He's going to be coaching both of the ETNs at running back. So I feel like our running backs coach knows exactly why he wanted the ETN on this team. It's a crazy situation, and I've spent the whole week explaining this to my coworkers that had questions about the pick because just like Michael Wydrick said earlier in the chat, he was so upset. He was like, why didn't we go corner? Why didn't we go safety right here? And to be honest, that's what I thought too. I thought we would go safety, but we went running back. But once I learned that we have a running backs coach with 15 years of NFL experience who coached the guy's brother, I want him on this team. We're going to be just fine. Blackshear might not be as happy about this situation, but I certainly am because, like Twan said, Rico Dowdle's probably looking to move on next year. He'll take the majority of the snaps, but ETN is going to develop and grow, play some special teams for us, maybe do returns. I think he can have a good year. And what does it mean for Brooks? Dan's not afraid to swing and miss. Dan took a swing at Brooks. Maybe he missed. Maybe he didn't feel good about it. Maybe he felt like he needed to swing again. Good GMs, that's what they do. You got to shake it off and take your shot. Dan took a shot on this guy that his staff wanted, and we'll see how it works out for the Panthers. But I feel pretty good about it overall.
Yes.
ADs, you got to remember now, Jonathan Brooks, he's out for this year. He's not going to play next year. So that's another thing you got to look at. He's not going to play next year.
Yes, sir, man.
Yeah, great point about like swinging and missing because that's what the Chiefs continuously do. Like Hardman didn't work out, Sky Moore didn't work out, and they kept going. They kept on. They like we're not afraid to miss. We'll go get Rashee Rice. We'll go get Xavier Worthy. Like I think that's a great point about swinging and missing and still moving on and still try to get the best player available to help your team this year.
Surfside
too. So
Steve.
I'll just add to that too.
Yeah.
It's an unpopular subject, but Cody, I told you many times on the show, on my show as well. I said you draft a quarterback every year until you get it right, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I
You
mean,
have said that.
unfortunately for us, we're not willing to do that at a certain position, but that's for another subject, another day. But ETN, I know people are afraid of the fumbles with him, man. Look, the coach that he has with him, look, they're gonna put him through so many drills in practice and poke at the ball. They probably gonna tell him to hold the ball all day. Anybody that can bring that ball back to me, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you know, and he'll be so hold on to that ball so tight, man. That look, he got a great coach and 2,000-yard backs. He gonna be all right.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I'm a fan of him. Like I said, I believe he will be a better NFL player than he was a college player. And I'm not just being optimistic. I think his skill set reminds me of like a Devon A-Chain for the Miami Dolphins and what he was able to do a few years back. Let me go to my man Surfside Steve, and then we'll go to Cole. Steve, how do you feel about Trevor Etienne, man? Oh, hang on, hold on. Wait, one more.
Of Cuba from the very beginning, and I'm so glad he developed his receiving skills because he became an all-around player. I'm very happy with that. However, he still has a 2-year contract with us. Rico has a 1-year contract. Brooks next year, we don't know what's up with Brooks. So really, so we need to start developing the future, and I think this pick is really a future pick, because developing him as a returner, getting his running game going, and I heard he's already a decent receiver. So I think he's a good pick for the future, more than this year even at this point.
Great point, man. Rico Dowdle was on a 1-year lease. Jonathan Brooks not going to play this year. Yeah, there was no reason to not take a player as talented as Trevor Etienne. 100% agree. Cole, what did you say about Trevor Etienne, man?
I actually love that pick, Cody. I was one of the main people screaming that you need to go ahead and draft like Jonathan Brooks doesn't exist.
You were.
This problem is not going to be a 1-year thing with him. I don't think Jonathan Brooks will ever be the same. So you will only have, like the last person that spoke said, you got one healthy person on the roster next year. So I think Etienne's eventually going to be our backup. Yeah. And then we talked many times before, there's an easy way out with Chuba. God forbid something happens. He doesn't produce like he's supposed to. You never know how high Etienne could end up on this depth chart one day.
True facts. Hey,
Cole, I'm just playing with you, Cole, but you don't worry about Chuba.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Don't put that bad juju on him.
Yeah, we don't want that bad juju
on that with the contract, though. There's an easy way out of that contract.
All right, boys. In the 4th round, with pick 122, the Carolina Panthers decided that we're going to lay the boom on fools by drafting one Lathan Ransom out of Ohio State. Boys, what do we make of the hard-hitting, fast, smash-mouth safety? Oh.
He gonna do what, Cody? He gonna leave.
He's just like a homing. And he has a receiver. I'm not even gonna lie. This is one of my favorite picks that we made. Not even gonna lie.
Bro, this dude flies around. He is a legitimate homing missile.
Yes.
I hate it for the person that get hit by him, because he's been known to hit guys so hard that they got to stay down there and catch their damn breath to get up.
Say that one more time, Cole. We have not had a safety like this in a long damn time, bro.
Name the last one that was coming down in the run game and laying people out like this.
Kurt Coleman.
Yes. Have him mentored by Moritz,
that's perfect.
The multiple timelines, man. I keep going back. My case says it all the time. Having Morig and then him right underneath him. I still think we need free safeties, but I think our strong safeties are good. We're going to be good in the box.
Did y'all see that the Panthers Twitter account, they put out all the different snaps that he's played at different positions? Box safety, nickel safety, free safety. They have played the dude everywhere. And look at that ability, man. I even believe he's sort of underrated in coverage. I know that's not his best ability, but when you're talking about defending the run, I want that dude running up fill in the A gaps and the B gaps. I'm a fan of Lathan Ransom and how he plays, man.
He's an energizer bunny as well on defense. Like he's a guy that's gonna pump other players up around him.
Shout
I
out
don't want to
Broadway
fool.
Joe. Says Mike Mentor is who he
Yep.
reminds me of.
Oh yeah, that's good, Joe. I don't want to leave anybody
That's a great
fooled.
answer.
Look, man, he does struggle covering, bro. He's got to be way better at that. He struggles with the covering. In the
Sure.
NFL, you got to be able to cover.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So unless we're gonna originally use him in special situations, he's gonna have to learn how to cover. That'll be his downfall if he doesn't learn that. But I'm pretty sure they'll get him right.
But right now, I'm envisioning Trevon Ward as the free safety for the Panthers. And I imagine Lathan Ransom as that box safety, basically playing underneath and playing the run. And I feel like that's what they want him to do. They want him to play fast, aggressive, and downhill, almost like a linebacker, if we're being honest.
I think he's going to back up more.
Look,
Yeah.
I think we're going to bring in a free safety.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
Yeah, we still might.
I agree with you. I agree with you,
man.
man. I think they're gonna bring a free safety in.
Yeah.
I agree. I
yeah,
agree totally.
yeah. Twan already said it. Yeah, I was gonna say the same shit. Yeah, hell yeah. I think they're gonna bring a safety in. Like, I look. I don't think Ransom is gonna start this year. I think he'll be more of a special teams backup type of guy. But I think they'll bring in a veteran. Same thing Twan said.
Yep.
Yeah. My man Diesel Skills. What do you have to say about one Lathan Ransom, bro?
Well, I'm pumped about the pick, first of all. I love it. I like the guy anyway. And then after digging more into him, after he was picked by the Panthers, like I love him even more because just like the chat was saying, you get those Mike Mentor type vibes of like this guy coming in and just killing a line of scrimmage. Y'all remember last year when we would sit in the nickel, and then our big nickel was Dane Jackson, and then Avero would send Dane Jackson after the quarterback, and then like the tackle would just swallow him up, and it was like a wasted. And then, like he did it over and over and over. So maybe they're thinking you put a guy like Ransom in there at the big nickel. He plays a little closer to the line of scrimmage, like Jeremy Chin probably should have, and he's helping contribute to stopping the run. It's not like this Avero defense wasn't giving up 3rd and 17 on the ground because it's a fact. It happened last year. That's what we did. So you come out here in your nickel, and then you got a guy like Ransom playing that position. He's watching the line of scrimmage. We saw big hits on the running back coming out of the backfield before he even got to the line of scrimmage. This guy plays with his hair on fire, and it's hard not to be excited about him. I understand what you're saying about coverage, but maybe they believe in Damani Richardson. That guy has shown a propensity to find the football in space and make some interceptions. He did it his rookie year, for goodness sakes. So maybe they want him at free safety. Maybe they bring in a guy like Blackman. I know that's what everybody's screaming. We'll see what direction they go, but there's no way that Ransom can't play the big nickel for the Carolina Panthers going into next season.
True. And also, I believe we have to trust our coaching staff to develop these players. You know what? They are not finished products. We are going to have to develop these players into the future. And I feel like I trust the staff more than ever to take these young players and actually fulfill their potential. This is something I have not felt
with your mic, Cody.
Very long time.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just call out the Dave Morgan again, man. No, like there's nobody like Ransom in that area. Like Malachi Moore went before him, Billy Bowman went after him. Billy Bowman went before him. They're not like Ransom. He pulled the trigger on ETN, kind of knowing that Ransom would be there. It's just brilliant. It's just excellent execution by the front office.
The way that you heard a player like Ransom is this though, and I hope they teach him this. At the NFL level, he would get absolutely killed on play action. He's got to have discipline. He's got to have disciplined eyes, man.
That too.
Okay. If he doesn't have disciplined eyes, man, he'll get sucked in and he'll rush into nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, right coaching, they'll get him ready. They'll get him right. But he's got to have more disciplined eyes. That going all in college ain't going to get it in the NFL, bro. Because, they're a lot better at it. But that's how you get a safety like him is on play action. So, Man, but God help us with
Yeah.
Evero. I just hope that he figures out what's going on, man. Get these guys right.
Same here, brother. Surfside Steve, what say you about Lathan Ransom?
I love the hitting, and I know these are highlights and everything, but he seems to pursue the ball really well. So I think he does have good eyes, but I'm sure he's going to be faked out. He'll need coaching, but I love a good hard hitter. Safety is meant for that for him. He was meant to be a safety.
Exactly.
That is what Jeremy Chin should have been, maybe.
Yep. Hey, I'm calling him catch your breath Ransom because when he hits you,
breath. My man Cole, what say you about Lathan Ransom, bro? Cole, I still got you, bro. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm sitting there talking my ass off muted, Cody. My fault. I think this might end up being one of my favorite later picks in this draft class, at least for us. I think he will definitely come in and make an impact for us. And you never can tell the way he tackles and hits people. He starts forcing fumbles and shit like that. That's a cheap, easy way to win games.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Is there anyone I did not call upon for Lathan Ransom? Any last words on that? Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I think joint practice is going to be very valuable for him. Whatever team that we have in joint practice, dude, I wish we could see it live. But man, it's going to be amazing. There's going to be very, very valuable reps for him and even all the other rest of the rookies.
Yeah. So we're playing.
Preseason too. Yeah. Good point.
We're playing the Browns in joint practices.
Cool. Last compliment about Ransom is this. If we still played in a league that allowed the physicality back in the day, bro. Y'all remember what Ronnie Lott did?
Yeah,
bro,
man.
They wouldn't be able to stand this guy, bro. He would be out there hurting people.
Sir.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
All right, man. Pick 140 for the Panthers. Cam Jackson, defensive tackle out of Florida. You know, I've said before, he reminds me a little bit of K1 Short in his play style. Some people disagree with me. I see that type of pass rush potential in Jackson. Am I wrong in that? And what do y'all make of our 5th round pick? Jump on it, boys.
I don't see Short at all, but I also it's a 5th round pick, so I think he's a good backup for if he makes the team behind Bobby Brown. I think it's a value pick, I guess. I'm not excited or just not excited about this pick. That's just my take on it.
I appreciate that.
It's a good pick. I mean, he's mammoth size. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he's one of the guys. You know, he's gonna play behind somebody. He's not gonna start. I mean, a lot of these rookies probably is gonna start behind somebody, but especially him learning behind Bobby Brown, I think it's gonna be very valuable for him because to me he is more of a run stopper guy, a gap container. Like he's not gonna get pushed 5 yards back off the line. I don't think at all. I think he's gonna be a guy that's actually gonna be pushing the line of scrimmage. And I think it's another pick that I really enjoy, and I think it's later going to be very valuable down the road. I love it.
Yes, and I think guys like him and Bobby Brown are just going to think about what Derek Brown's going to do with these guys in there now. Like, he doesn't have to be that
double and triple teaming.
Oh my God, he's going to have a year.
So this was his hello message to the Panthers.
Cam Jackson, excited to get ready to head to Carolina, man, and keep pounding.
Yeah, keep pounding, bro.
So as a Florida State fan, for 2 years I was like, why can't we block this one guy? This dude harassed the shit out of us because we have to play them every year. You know, when I first heard his name, I thought it was the big guy down there at nose guard until I figured out. I was like, oh, that's the dude that gave us problems. This dude right here, man, is relentless when he gets back there. He needs some coaching up. But we couldn't do nothing with him for 2 years. He gonna be good, man. I just think he's raw.
He's very raw. At the Senior Bowl, 6 tackles, total tackles, 5 solo, 1 pass breakup. Dude, he was an incredible player at the Senior Bowl. These little skills. What did you make of Cam Jackson? And what is his potential on this defense?
I think if we were looking to add depth to the nose tackle position, which we definitely needed to. Shy Tuttle gets winded quickly. It gets out of plays quickly as well. I know he's a big body. He's a good friend of Derek Brown, but we needed somebody else back there to contribute to this nose tackle position, whether he's a guy that you see in rotation often or a guy that's more developmental. It's not a bad pick at 330 pounds or 6'6". I mean, the guy's a behemoth. You remember what Tony always says. Tony says for defensive line guys, it takes 3 years to find out who they really are. And I think with Crumedy and Cam Jackson, we just got to be patient and give them some time to become the player they're going to be in the NFL. But if we're committed to a 4-3 scheme moving forward, then you add a guy like Cam Jackson to come in and be your nose tackle of the future and a guy that may even be able to contribute some this year. I'm not totally against the pick to be a late 5th round pick. I don't think there's a problem with it whatsoever. Dan Morgan nailed this one again.
Yes, sir. Surfside City, what's you, man?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see Keiki. I think it's going to be more like Star Tulele.
Okay.
I'm hoping for that. Obviously, he's late picking everything and needs work and everything, but he seems to be aggressive and he looks like he wants to put the work in. So I can see having Star being like him, like he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot.
But remember though,
we're dreaming now. We're all dreaming now.
The potential.
Okay. Yes.
The potential of Derek Brown next to Cam Jackson. That's what excites me, to be honest. Those two players in tandem on one another. Yeah, that has real potential right there, man.
So the question is, do we have K1 Short and Star Lutulele all over again, 2025? Not exactly, but it's close.
Yeah.
I hope they become their own players. You know what I'm saying? I hope they can become their own.
Bro. But Carolina's drafting their own guys.
Right.
But Star, we drafted K1, did we? K1, didn't we?
Yeah,
those were our guys.
Yes,
those were our guys.
We drafted Star round 1 and then KK in round 2. Same year. Same year. Yeah, man.
I feel it coming.
Locks, man. What do you feel about Cam Jackson, brother? How do you think this player picks for us?
Like I said, man, like I didn't really get too deep into the I don't do too much scouting. Like I really just do like the first 3 rounds. So like I like his size though. I mean, I'm just gonna wait and see on him. I mean, he looked good. I mean, he got good size. He looked like he can do a little, space eater, bull rush type dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and wait and see on him. Like I'm gonna give it a C right now. You know what I'm saying? Until I see him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, 50-50 makes
man, right. He big as hell, bro. Locksman, correct. He is huge.
Hey, bro, Twan, if you said that he was giving Florida State some problems, I love that, bro.
I know you love it, motherfucker.
We have a contract with LeBron Ray too, so we got depth at that position. I think it's 50-50 probably between him, Crumedy, and LeBron Ray.
Yeah. So, boys,
also, if we get these guys playing up front, that's going to help our weaker linebacking core cover up their problems because our linebackers are questionable, and having these guys up front will compensate for a lot of those problems in the back there, I think.
For sure.
For now.
Cody, real quick before you go to the next question, Cody.
Might be releasing somebody.
Okay. Cody, listen. No longer do the thing that got me the hype is about this team is this. No longer do we have a team where you could come and bullshit your way through training camp.
Yes, sir. Say that one more time.
Yo, great freaking point, man. Great point.
Bro, if you come to this team bullshitting in training camp, you're going to be on the outside looking in. The coaches, they got to come out here and coach up because this is a team that coaches are looking at like, I'm just waiting for somebody to fuck up over there because I would love to coach this team, bro. The days of lollygagging and all that, bro, is over. You have to actually compete for your job.
Love that.
Protecting players.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Boys, let's roll even deeper into the draft. because the Carolina Panthers were not done adding to their offense, they decided to grab a tight end, Mitchell Evans, out of Notre Dame. Boys, what do we make of one Mitchell Evans? Where's the number 88? How do we feel about Mitchell Evans and what he brings to the Carolina Panthers?
I'll go
Go
real
ahead,
quick.
boys. Yeah, go ahead.
Great tight end. Great tight end. What I love about this dude is he always seems to be open. You know, he doesn't evade the contact. He'll take the contact on. He doesn't fumble. He can block pretty decently, but he just always seems to find himself wide open. Enough said for me, man.
Great. I mean, if you talk about value picks, this is the value pick of the draft.
Great value.
This is
Facts.
if he doesn't tear his ACL, this is a day 2 pick easy last year.
Mhm.
You got it. I mean, you got it. This all things that Twan said, man. I mean, you guys can probably talk more specifics. Great value here.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree with what he just
I
said there.
totally
because
agree.
Injuries is the only thing that really held him back, and I know a lot of people's like, well, he didn't really have a bunch of production. Well, he also has a lot of injuries, but he played every game last year, and hey, I'm going off of that. He's got a clean bill of health to me.
How about the
That's all that matters.
one-hander? How about the one-hander,
Nasty,
boys?
nasty catch.
Athletic.
Boom.
He's a great
Love
route
it.
runner too, bro. Great
Greg
route
Love
runner.
Olsen, is that you? No, I'm kidding.
Ian Thomas could never.
Yeah.
Come on, we ain't gonna do the end slander, man. Come on.
Just think about that. Just with the draft, look at all the upgrades we're talking about. Like from Ian Thomas
yeah.
on, like all the upgrades, even just to the draft. Ian Thomas is a great player.
Yeah, man. I had a weird love affair with Ian Thomas. I never thought Cody knows this, man. I never felt like the guy got a real chance, man, but I had to let that shit go.
Cody, let me get this off right quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Cole.
I think, and y'all will notice this too once I say it, we did great value shopping at positions of always need. But if you look at the schools where these people come from, like it's damn near a factory. Notre Dame is always known for putting out tight ends. Florida traditionally puts out good defensive linemen. I just like where we shopped at for the whole damn draft.
Yes. Hey, whoever has background noise, mute your TV or whatever.
When we say value picks, we are not talking about no Dollar Tree picks. Or no, we're talking about like we talking like Marshall's department store or
Amazon.
You know, with the prices. Yeah, it's a little better than Amazon. Fucking Ralph Lauren online or something like that. You know,
it's like when you wear like a 13 and they only have 13s left in the store, and you're like, I wear a 13, and it's like marked down 50%.
Exactly.
That's the value pick.
Yeah, nobody wears that size. You're like, man, I'm good.
So, what are the chances of him having a meaningful impact on this roster? Or are we now talking about bubble players who might not have the best chance? What does Mitchell Evans do for this team?
He's got to beat out Trimble for snaps, but he can do that shit. He's not going to be the starter over JT, but he's definitely fighting Trimble for the number 2 snaps for sure, I feel like.
I think he's more likely to make the team than Cam Jackson.
Cam Jackson?
Yeah,
I think he's more likely to make the team based on like how many tight ends we have.
I just told you, bro. He could have easily been a second-round pick last year. Like, if he stays healthy, he's good, man. Hey, Tommy Trimble, look, he can beat Trimble out. He can beat him out.
I think he can too, Twan.
He can.
Trimble
was more of a fucking halfback anyway.
Twan, how you feel about Ian Thomas? That's how I feel about Tommy Trimble. I like Tommy Trimble. I like Tommy Trimble. I feel like the dude is a lot better than he gets credit for. He's very strong. Came along in the pass department. But now we have Jadeevon Sanders, man. So that tight end room, it's pretty deep. He really is.
They're going to work with each other, though. They're going to be
man. They're
going to work with each other.
Bro,
they're going to carry 3 tight ends anyways, so all 3 of them.
We got the right amount of tight ends anyway. You know, so ain't nobody's going anywhere.
True facts.
Behind him is like a guy that's coming from basketball, college basketball, he's gonna try to be a tight end. And I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
I
trying to
remember,
down the guy,
dude.
but that's what I'm saying. That's what's behind
Yeah,
Mitchell. I mean, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Guys,
Diesel.
about
Good
Trimble.
Matthews, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me-
look. I don't know if you guys know, a lot of teams called for Trimble before we re-signed him. A lot of teams wanted him. I don't know why, but they did.
Bro, I'm telling you, he's better than you're giving credit for, man. Let me get my man Diesel skills. Diz, what say you about Mitchell Evans? What chances does he have on this roster, man?
Well, first of all, my bad to Twan. I didn't know he was an Ian Thomas stan. Ian Thomas is a good guy, does great things in the community. His brother has autism, and he always champions autism to the community. And he'll do the same thing in Las Vegas that he did here. He's a great freaking guy. And if you see him in person, he's really fucking scary. He's fucking huge. Like, I would not get within 10 foot of Ian Thomas. He's that big and that scary. So I didn't know you were a fan. But, yeah, I know a lot about him. But anywho, adding this guy to the tight end room, I think adds versatility because you got a guy like JT Sanders who's primarily pass catching. So in certain formations where you know you're going to run the football, so let's say the Carolina Panthers come out in 12 personnel, we know we're going to run. JT wouldn't be in a route. He would be a primary blocking position. You bring in a guy like Evans, he's going to block along with Tommy Tremble. JT takes a play off, catches breath. We run the football with Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, whoever. So I like the adversity or the versatility that he's adding to this offense. I think he gives us another blocker out there, and at the same time, we saw him making one-handed catches. So it's not like he can't be a threat in the passing game. I feel like his stats were kind of muted because of the passing game there at Notre Dame this season. Riley Leonard is very unpolished still. The wide receivers from Notre Dame really let down that squad this year. Evans didn't have the type of year that he could have had previously with the other quarterback who I can't remember now. He's got great hair. But anyway, Mitchell Evans was a good pickup. It's adding a lot of diversity to the tight end room. Give us another good blocker, especially if you think about goal line sets where you're going to have 3 tight ends on the field. This is making all that better for the Carolina Panthers moving forward.
What a draft, man! What a draft!
And he can act as backup for both. He can play backup for either position. If either one is
Hey, he's got a faster 10-yard split than Olsen had. You know, I ain't comparing him to Olsen. Please don't.
Yeah, dude, his 10-yard split. The 10-yard split is one of the most
valuable. It was the fastest of any tight end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was the fastest of any tight end?
Yeah,
dude, I think he tied
with
some guy. Yeah.
But I tell you what, out of every stat at the combine, the 10-yard split is the most important for a tight end.
Yeah.
By far.
That's how you get
the
over.
highest indicator of future success for tight ends.
Well, Cody,
what's the position rank that says? I'm on my phone, so I can't see.
8.
That they have 8. So we got 8th best tight end in the late 5th. Pretty good value.
Yeah.
Hey man, I do wish Ian Thomas a better. I hope he does great with the Raiders. I mean, once a Panther, always a Panther, man. So, you know, we got love for a lot of our guys, man. Hopefully he'll have a better career over there. It just didn't work out with us.
100%.
Ain't nobody feel bad for Ian Thomas. He made so much money for the Carolina Panthers. He's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah, you know.
Hey man, Surfside Steve, what say you about Mitchell Evans?
Okay, well, he was a high school quarterback until he got hurt and he couldn't go lateral. So he's got a lot of smarts, which one in the tight end. And I'm looking at his number 88. I'm looking at the one-hand catches. I'm very happy with that stuff. So he'll make the team easily. And I'm really looking forward to Tommy Tremble because I think he's been underutilized. I think a good coaching staff will make him a lot better because we saw sparks from Tremble, but it just never quite happened. I think with his new coaching staff, Tremble may surprise a lot of people. I wouldn't be surprised if he kicked everybody's ass.
I hope he
does. Love that. I would love for him to kick everyone's ass and really make a name for himself. The more young, powerful tight ends, the better. I love that.
Money talks, man. They paid him.
Yeah, Canales can. This is what I love about it. You know, I think Dees was telling, look, man, Canales and Dan Morgan got so much depth in every position except one. But listen, look, man, if I'm Canales as a coach, I go to the tight ends and go, who wants to play every Sunday? Show me in practice. And walk away.
Max. Show me who wants it.
Who
Show
wants it, but
me
who wants it more?
dogs. The dogs. That's what we
If
need.
that rookie beats him out, start him.
All right, man. That brings us to the very last draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. The yin to Tet McMillan's yang, Jeremy Horn Jr., burner, speedster for the Colorado Buffalo. Man, I did not see us taking another receiver later in the draft, but that is what they did. How do we feel about Jimmy Horn Jr. and what he could bring to the Carolina Panthers? Jump on it, boys.
He's a burner that can be electric with the ball in his hand.
I want to see what you guys say first.
Well, like Canales told us what he was going to do. He said he wanted touchdown makers and he wanted speed. He got both. Like, and all these good teams have these guys. Like, you think about Darius Davis for like the Chargers, or they all have these big play, like a Turpin for the Cowboys. We needed an electric dude, and this dude's freaking electric, and he can catch. He can catch straight.
Yes, he can. Listen, so out of the two Colorado wide receivers that they had over there, hey, look, man. To me, this was the best one, in my opinion. He's better than Jonte, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy, speed kills, bro. And if you get open and you got good hands, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that at the NFL level, bro, that is it. I mean, we got guys waving bye-bye to motherfuckers as they score. That's just undoubtedly seasoned speed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
man.
love that for him, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, you're not faster than me. When I hit that corner, I'm going to be there before you are. Therefore, it gives me time to wave goodbye to you or whatever. And look, NFL going to eat that up. We love when players do that kind of shit. Some people don't like it. I love it.
Love it, love it, love it. Lux, man, you still with me? Lux, man, you still with me?
Yeah. I mean, you
Jimmy Horn
know,
Jr., bro.
I like his speed. He looked like he a slot guy. You know what I'm saying? I think between him and Hunter Renfrow and David Moore, I give him like a 35-40% chance to make the roster as a special teams guy. But a lot of times those 7th round picks, a lot of times those guys start off on the practice squad and then they make their way up. And especially with the new rules, because like you can protect like 2 or 3 guys on the practice squad and play them in the game. So I think, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody seems to like him. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched much of him, but I know he's fast. I know he can play special teams. So I mean, I give him like a 35-45% chance to make the roster. I give it a C plus. I give it a C plus.
All right, that's fair. To me, he's the perfect style of wide receiver for Bryce Young. I think Bryce is going to be able to dump the ball off in the middle of the field and let him do the rest of the work, man.
Even if this guy only plays special teams to start off with, right? And this is what I thought Luxman was going to say. The way that the kickoff is set up now, do you think the opposing teams want this guy to have a head start?
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
What?
Let me go to my man, Jake. Jake, what say you about Jimmy Horn Jr., bro?
I mean, I think he's a guy that all it's going to take is for him to break one to the house one time. And if we don't keep this man on 53, somebody's going to take him. I promise you that. He's going to make the roster.
He's going to make the damn change.
And that's a perfect point. We're getting guys that we know are going to make the roster in the 6th round, which is awesome. No matter what it is about this player, this is the guy that we're like, I know he's going to make a 53, and we got him in the 6th round. Great. Talk about value. Great value.
Yeah. Amazing. Surfside Steve, how do you feel about Jimmy Horn Jr.?
Oh, I can't wait to see his return game, man, because that speed kills. Speed kills. And now with the kick, we're going to have so many more run backs and everything because of the rules. that he'll be perfect for them. And one day maybe he'll be a good receiver down the road too. But I can't wait for the return game for this man.
Yeah. Digital skills. What's your assessment of one Jimmy Horn Jr., brother?
Well, last year we had Carolina Panthers fans screaming for Xavier Worthy. Make sure we draft that Xavier Worthy. We need a speed guy. We need a guy that's really fast. Well, that didn't happen, but maybe we did it this year with Jimmy Horn Jr. And not only the fact that he's just a speed guy, like y'all were saying, his kick return skills would be a great asset to this team. But look at down the stretch for the Carolina Panthers. We had David Tompkins in the game. He got snaps. He got plays. They ran that end-around play to Tompkins at least 3 times. What if it's Jimmy Horn? What if Jimmy Horn gets a year under his belt and he's that much better? I mean, we're drafting the same type of players that with the same skill set that will add to this team. And then let me go ahead and insert JMO into this conversation and how well Bryce Young did with him at Alabama. How much have the Panthers fans screamed for us to go get a JMO from Detroit and trade draft capital to bring him in here? Well, we didn't have to because we drafted that guy in the 6th round and going to find a role for him on this team. It makes sense what we're doing. Another great pick by Dan Morgan to round out the draft.
And he's tough.
Love it. Love it. And it's tough as hell. Apparently, he was really good in the interview process, too. So, shout out to Jimmy Horn Jr. Colby, my brother, what say you about Jimmy Horn, man? Do you like him to make the roster?
I think so because his speed can break open a game quick. He's going to be a part of my favorite position battle probably because I know we're talking about drafted players, but we obviously got to take into account Musi Muhammad's son from A&M, I think it is. It's going to be him and Horn, and there's probably one more guy I'm forgetting for that last spot, I feel like. So it's going to be a great battle. Renfrow.
Yeah, and Hunter Renfrow too, man.
Yeah, all of that has to be taken into account.
Yeah. So that was our final draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. We do have a couple notable undrafted free agents, namely among them, son of Panther legend Muhsin Muhammad. We now have Muhsin Muhammad III on the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I'm going to be real. I know that he's from the Charlotte area. I don't know a ton about him as a player. So I'm going to leave this up to y'all. Is this just a feel-good story, or does Moose have the potential to really be a contributor as a Carolina Panther?
It's a feel-good story, man.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Hey, man, he ain't ready, man.
Yeah,
he's not.
If he makes a team, it's going to be a favor of a favor of a favor.
Same thing with that dude. And what's that dude named Brent Burson? It's the same thing as Brent Burson. Cause like, I've been looking. Hey, look, I don't want to give nobody no shout out because I know Twine be on the show, the Black Cat Panther podcast, whatever that show is.
Yeah, man, shout out Black Cat.
Yeah, them dudes love Muhsin Muhammad Jr. The third, man. I heard them dudes. They were like, man, Muhsin Muhammad Jr. I'm like, man, look, it's just a feel good story.
It wasn't me.
I mean, I love Muhsin Muhammad, but I don't think his son is gonna make the roster. He may make the practice squad. I don't know, but I mean, look, it's
all the money, man. All the money. George is the undrafted guy.
Hey, this is a great comment by JD. Says, whose spot is he taking?
The last
one. Yeah. Now follow the money. George would be the only
type shit.
Would be the guy.
Hey, Cody, can I ask you a question, Cody?
Sure, man.
Did we have a perfect draft?
Bro, it really feels. It feels. Do you remember in 2017, the New Orleans Saints had that draft where they had like 4 or 5 starters? Bro, I feel like there are at least 4 or 5 legitimate long-term starters in the Panthers 2025 NFL draft, bro. I really do believe that from the bottom of my heart, man. I have a vision for all of them and what we will have them do, how we will have them do it. I'm a fan, man. Dan Morgan is winning over hearts and minds
Bro,
one day at a time, man.
Cooking.
I've been here since day one. I've never seen a draft this great on paper, all the way down to the 6th round pick. It's just like where did he miss? Where did he miss?
Even the things that he missed on,
I feel the same way.
the corners and the linebackers that you think that he might have missed on, all those dropped to undrafted free agents, and he picked them up right away, dude.
Exactly.
And
the better ones are
freaking
coming out
crushed
next
it.
year anyway.
Dude, I got 10 rookies making this roster. I'm getting a second best kicker in the draft. I'm undrafted free agent.
State University. Look, y'all got to keep dealing with us. Another 7 of us made it into the house of Carolina.
I'm happy for you, Twan. I'm happy for you, brother.
This one,
I really think that. I think that 10 rookies can make this 53.
So I also have a short list. This is not every undrafted free agent, but these are some of the notable ones. So they don't have the Florida State kicker listed right here. I believe we're all very hopeful to be rid of Eddie Pinheiro. But what were some of the other names, if any, that y'all were looking at on the undrafted free agent list?
I can't
There's another
pronounce
corner that you missed.
The dude from Washington State is a fucking
that dude Mike Reed was all right. Yeah, Mike
So
Reed.
the name,
Namura?
yeah, Tyvisi Nomura is a player that I've been seeing a bunch of people be very excited about.
Hey,
at
Van
linebacker.
Martin Scott supposedly supposed to be decent too, out of the University of South Carolina. You know how to mention him because Kev probably in here right now.
Hey, look,
Who
hey,
just said
don't go to
Jay? You
sleep
talking
on
about
these
Bam?
guys.
Yeah,
Bam might be all right.
And you never know who's going to make it. A year ago, who's Coker? Right? Who's this guy Coker?
Special teamer.
Undrafted.
A man.
Yep.
So you never know.
I said, don't sleep on these guys. Do you know how many guys are Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers that were undrafted? Don't sleep.
Yeah, man. Well, brothers. Yeah, go ahead, Deez.
On the UDFAs, I'd say both the linebackers, like y'all already pointed out, they got a good chance of making the team and playing special teams for us. And then I would just say because of need and because of Avero's history and keeping a lot of safeties, I would say the 2 safeties do have a chance to make the roster if we don't sign a free agent, because you don't know how that goes. And what we've seen, like I've pointed out before in the last 2 years, we've missed out on key free agents that we needed for the team. We definitely did this year. With the wide receiver and with the defensive tackle, but we made up for it in a lot of ways on the D line. And then last year we missed out with Patrick Queen. So we've had some strikeouts in free agency, and they may not get a Blackman or another guy that they want to put back there from free agency and start. So there is a chance that those safeties can make the squad. But I think one of those linebackers is a shoe-in to make the roster and start on special teams.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Good point.
Love it. My brothers, members of the C3 Legion, we're going to round out the show to a close. Man, it was an awesome show. I feel like we're all very pumped about the 2025 Carolina Panthers draft class. I know I am. It seems all of you are as well. I cannot wait to see what this season has in store for the Panthers. Boys, each and every single one of you, I appreciate you so much for being on the show. I'm going to let everyone have their opportunity to have their final words for the show. And we're going to get on up out of here and have a wonderful Friday evening and a wonderful weekend as well, man. So I appreciate y'all. Let's start with my man, Locks, man. You know we appreciate you on the Free For All, brother. Give me your final thoughts for the show today, man.
Hey, it was a good show. I came in a little bit early. I stayed the whole show.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, bro.
I like the draft. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for the little mini camp thing to pop off. You know, I don't got much to say, but I'm going to give a shout out to the C3. You know what I'm saying? You know, already
Salute,
Twan, the
salute,
goddamn 704 Charlotte Bound.
salute.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Black Cat, you know what I'm saying? Jake, you know what I'm saying? All y'all boys, man. Hey, I'm ready for the season, man. Hey, hold it down. Hey, that's all I got to say.
Appreciate you,
that,
Lon.
Locks. Yeah,
You're the
bro.
man. Appreciate that C3 love, brother. We appreciated having you the entire show, man. Next up, my friend from the 704 Charlotte Bound Show, Twan Don. You know, we appreciate you as always, my brother. Give me your final thoughts for the free for all.
Shout out to this C3 Panther podcast and Cody for allowing me to come over there and let
Always,
my
bro.
voice shine a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? Great people on the panel today, man. I want to shout out to all you guys, man.
Beautiful
Great discussions.
panel, man.
You know what
Awesome
I'm saying?
panel.
I love, bro. There was a dope conversation last night, man. We all learned from each other. It's good to see everybody happy. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see a
Yeah,
shift
man.
in the moods
High
with
to
the
high
Carolina
right
Panthers this year. A lot of, I never seen podcasters so happy in my life, bro. So you're gonna see us a lot more happy this year and talking about this team. I'm so excited for the damn future, bro. I know I'm sounding like Diesel still ain't trying to take his thunder right now, man. But I'm just so damn excited to be a Panther, bro. It don't make no damn sense, bro. I see it coming. I feel it happening. Like D said, if you ain't on board, man, don't try to join us later. Maybe we'll let you in with a discounted ticket, man. But the sky's the limit with this team. Damn, Morgan, I owe you an apology, bro. You did your thing this year, bro. Man, look, man, keep pounding, bro. Keep pounding this back in
Pound it,
2025.
bro.
Let's go, Twan. Let's go.
Let's go. Love it, love it, love it, bro. Hope springs eternal for the Carolina Panthers. Surfside Steve, we appreciate having you on the show, man. Let me have your final thoughts for the free-for-all, man. We appreciate you being on the show.
Well, I'm a long-time lurker. Great show, a great draft, and I'm older than Pickle, so since he's not here, anybody who's not a fan of this draft, shut the hell up.
Yeah! Shout out to Panther Pickle. He was on the road today,
You
but
made Pickle proud tonight.
yeah, Surfside Steve was substituting for you. We
Let's go,
appreciate
Steve.
Let's go. My man Cole, bro, you know it's not a free-for-all without you, man. Give me your final thoughts for the show today, my brother.
Still ecstatic, Cody. I'm looking forward to the season so much. I'm looking forward to Fan Fest. It's going to be my first one. I'm ready to come out and kick it with the family. Give me a hotel room, make it a weekend thing, man. I'm so excited for the future. Keep pounding. Let's get it.
Keep pounding. Love it. Alex Bryant is another wonderful Panthers content creator. Alex, we appreciate you so much for jumping on the show. Tell them where they can find your content and how they can support you, man.
Alex, you were incredible, bro. You were incredible, bro.
Dude, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
Man, anytime you want to. I do this. So I got like a really stressful life. I used to work for a hedge fund. Now I'm opening my own business. So I do like my pod is Kitty Lit Zero. If you want to listen to me, I don't necessarily need the funds or anything. I do that for myself. If you like the content, come watch. If you don't have to. I'm not asking for anything. But man, Cody, I love this platform that you've created, man. This is such a great thing for everyone to be able to open up for everyone to come on, talk positivity. I feel like we get such negative spaces in just the world today. And not only that, but we've got negativity in Panthers for 7 years now. So there's a lot of this going around, and have like a beacon of light. It is so nice. And I'm so excited for the content creators in Panther Nation, because we're about to be what the Rams were, when they hired McVay and where they are now. And I see it coming, and it's gonna pay off for every single content creator in Panther Nation. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so thankful for having me on. I agree with Twan, man. The people on the panel today were freaking awesome. I love everybody challenging my mindset, introducing me to new ideas, and what a wonderful thing you guys are doing. And thanks for letting me come on.
Dude, we appreciate you, man.
Good shit, Alex. Thank you.
Anytime you want to come on.
Thanks, Alex.
Our platform is your platform. We have a saying around here: the rising tide lifts all boats. So we support all Panther content creators. There are too many YouTube viewers to go around. Everyone can support each other, and grow this Panther fan base into something special. And over here at C3, we want to make sure that every Panther fan has a voice to be heard. That's why we're here, man, to let Panther fans feel heard. So, Alex, we appreciate you, man. Check out Kitty Lit Zio on YouTube. Hit them with the likes and subscribes. Tell them the C3 sent you. Next up, my man Jake the Snake. You know I appreciate you, brother. Wouldn't be a free-for-all without you, bro. Give me your final thoughts for the show, man.
Hey, absolutely
Jake.
another great Friday free-for-all, man. I love being on here. Hey, looking at this draft we had, I'm still on cloud 9. I think I'm going to be on cloud 9 this whole season, man. I swear. I love our draft. I love Dan Morgan. I love Dave Canales, man. I love this coaching staff. I have so much faith going forward right now, more so than I've had in years, man. And, hey, I enjoy it every day, even when we're down in our lows, man. I love being on here. Keep pounding. Much love.
Keep pounding. The C3 Legion is strong. And, bro, if y'all know what we do around here, we let the brand ambassador have the final words on the free-for-all because he knows how to bring it home, in case you haven't noticed. My man, my brother, the brand ambassador, these ill skills. Give me your final thoughts for the free-for-all, my brother.
Absolutely, man. Once again, thank you to the panel. It's been a fantastic show. Just a really good time talking to Panthers fans, getting different opinions about how we feel about this draft. And it's not just from the panel, it's from the chat as well. And you know what I love, Cody? I love C3 Love Bombs, man. So shout out the podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast, live every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., along with the Friday free-for-all at 7 p.m. The C3 Legion Spaces will keep you engaged for the entire week. If you want more Panthers content, tune into us on X or on Twitter. Join the C3 Legion Spaces. You can be a part, even listen anonymous if you would like. We'll keep you busy all week long with Panthers content and the newest fans' reactions and opinions. Along with that, Cody, the C3 Love Bomb, not everybody can afford to send in $5 super chats, $10 super chats, or even gift 20 or more C3 super fans memberships. So if you can't do those things, just simply drop a like on the video. And if you would, share with a friend. And if you've got the time, hit the notification bell and be ready each and every time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. Along with those C3 Love Bombs, you can become a C3 super fan for only $2 a month. Join the rest of us in the C3 Legion chat. We've been there for years. There's people in the chat that's been there for almost 10 years, maybe even more. And interacting with those guys each and every show is just a way to appreciate your Panthers fandom. So join the longest running Panthers podcast, guys. This is C3 Nation, C3 Legion. We are strong. Our shields are together. We've got our spears, and we're ready to attack the NFC South next season, Cody. And there's only one thing left for us to do, my friend.
C3 Legion, keep pounding.